Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show as we continue. We just got through with talking with Coach Rob Stowe. We're going to go to Chuck with some scores from around the state, and then we'll go to our next interview.
All right, Bruce, thank you. Looking at some of the private school scores, Westfield and Stratford played last night. Stratford on top of that, 35-13. Fulton lost to Memorial Day, 14-0. And in the public schools, we'll start at the top. Appleton County beat Aiken, South Carolina, 54-13. Bacon County over Stephen County, 30-7. Baldwin over Putnam County, 33-13. I think that's probably a rivalry up there. We just talked about Blakely County, 34. Wilcox County, 20. Lesser Trinity, 46. Eagles Landing Christian, nothing. Man, Eagles Landing Christian is just falling off, hasn't it? Bradwell Institute, 26-13 over Liberty County. Brunswick over Camden County, 21-17. Buford, 10. And Mallard Creek, North Carolina, 7.
Back to the phone line. We've gone on line with us now this morning, Rutland head coach Anthony Williams. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Glad to have you with us, Coach. First time on the air with us. What we kind of do on the first visit in, we want to know a little bit about Coach Anthony Williams, where you went to high school, played ball, then college, and then what made you make your way to Rutland.
Yes, sir. 1993, graduate of Mitchell Baker High School. Played for Coach Jack Johnson there. Was on 2 state championships with him in 89 and 92. After leaving there, went on to Georgia Southern University, where I played for three head coaches, actually. Played for Tim Stowers, Frank Elwood, and got a chance to play with Paul Johnson before he left to go to Georgia Tech. 2 SoCon championships with them. After leaving there, I got my first shot as a coach at Southeast Bullock High School in 2000. Did 6 years there. First 2 years as a defensive line coach. The last 4 I was a defensive coordinator there. After leaving Southeast, I went to West Lawrence High School and was a defensive coordinator there with Coach John Pate. Left there, and Coach Eric Parker hired me on his staff at Burke County. I did 4 years as a D-line coach, and then wound up, he saw enough in me, promoted me to be his defense coordinator. I was there from 2009 to 2014. Rutland came open, and I put my name in, and the good people in Bibb kind of thought enough of me to give me a shot, and the rest is history right now.
Coach, I tell you what, Eric Parker doesn't hurt your resume one bit. Coach Parker has been on with us many times over the years, very close friend of the program, and I tell you, what a class act. I hated that he retired last year. I was hoping to hear him again for another few more years.
Yeah, me too, man. He had that episode late in the season last year, and kind of. He had been flirting with retiring, and that episode kind of forced his hand, and he got out. But like you said, man, great guy, great person. He's almost like an uncle to me. Great mentor. Both of us graduates of Mitchell Baker High School, and it's just it was an honor working with him.
Well, I tell you, that's a heck of a connection, a heck of a story. Coach, tell us a little bit about your coaching staff.
Got a good little staff working right now. These guys are putting in a lot of work. I was able to bring 2 guys with me when I came in. Coach Devontae Osborne played for me at Burke County. He's my offensive coordinator. 2010 graduate of Burke County High School. Went on to play college ball at Albany State. Did a little college coaching and got back into high school. Brought him on as my OC. I was able to bring also Orlando Howard, also played for me at Burke. And he was a 2011 graduate from Burke County, and he's coaching. He's actually doing double duty for me. He's coaching running backs and O-line. Was able to maintain a couple of guys on that was on the previous staff. Coach Antoine Tuma. I promoted him to my assistant head coach. He's my receivers coach. Coach Brian Picardo is my D-line coach. Coach Kelby Colson is my DB's coach, and Coach Allen is coaching my opponent.
Well, Coach, I think you sound like you got a really good staff and you got a great background. I want to wish you luck tonight. Of course, we'll be up this afternoon. Kickoff at 6 o'clock at Ed DeFore Sports Complex.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, thanks for being on the show with us. We look forward to getting you back on. Next time we get you in, we're going to break down your games and kind of take a look at your future.
I can't wait.
All right, Coach. Thank you. Good luck, and we'll see you tonight.
I appreciate it. You have a good day.
You too, Coach. Coach Anthony Williams, head coach up at Rutland, and I tell you, has done a tremendous job up there. Of course, he took over a team that had some pretty good talent on it.
Yeah, Bruce, it did. We saw them last year, and I was pretty surprised when they came down here, the talent they had on that team. It was just a couple of years ago, Bruce, we didn't even know if they were going to have enough kids to play football.
Right.
And that's kind of, coming out of the Macon Public School system, we had more players than they did.
Yeah.
At Covenant. And, man, I'm proud of what they've done up there. I'm glad they've turned that around, and they're playing good ball.
Yeah, I think as time goes on, they're going to have a really good program up there at Rutland. Of course, I want to remind you the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show every week from 9 to 12. Fastest 3 hours in radio, 16 coaches. And, of course, finishing up with a little traveling with John Nelson as he and Eddie break down the college game. And, of course, this weekend they'll be able to break it down pretty good as things are fixing to start getting underway. We'll go back to our phone line. On the line with us now, Coach Lee Hopkins of Lincoln County. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, glad to have you with us as always. Of course, the weather will start feeling a little bit better in about 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, I tell you, I hope so.
Our game with Rutland was moved because of construction in Bibb County from Friday to Saturday, and we're going to kick off at 6 o'clock at night, and we're going to have a heat index of 107 at kickoff.
Well, good luck. I tell you what, it's pretty intense. We were fortunate last night that it got a little bit overcast just before we kicked off. If it hadn't, I don't know that we'd have been able to start on time.
Well, I tell you, it's brutal, Coach, and I don't think the average person out there realizes the difference it is now. And when I was in school in '75, we weren't around air conditioners all the time. Just went out and Coach got you in shape. Now it's a totally different animal trying to get kids ready.
Well, think about this, too. When you were a kid, and I don't know how old you are, but when I played, we didn't play football in August.
No.
First kickoff. We didn't start practice until we got in there in August and started our games in September.
That's right. Yep.
Well, Coach, I'm not a young fella. I've had my 64th birthday.
Well, good for you.
We're not sure about 65 yet.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
we
pulling
are.
for you, man.
Yeah, we are.
Coach, tell us a little bit about your game last night with McCormick.
Well, McCormick was a little outmanned. We were a little bit better than they were last night, and they seemed to be pretty young. But our kids were able to play well enough to get us a win and get back to 1-1.
Coach, of course, next week things will change a little bit. Y'all be on the road at ECI, and of course, ECI coach Kirsten over there, they have a heck of a program, and I tell you that can be a very tough place to go to.
Yes, it can. I've played there several times while I was in Vidalia, and Chris does an incredible job. They're very disciplined. They execute, and they do what they do very well. They've run the wing tee for a long time, and just an excellent ball program. And I'm looking forward to the opportunity, but we're going to have our hands full. They are good, and we are struggling at this point to be good.
Well, Coach, tell us a little bit about your coaching staff. I know from year to year things change, and I know we've had several changes here in Hawkinsville. Any changes on your staff?
Yeah, we had our last year's offensive coordinator moved on to Burke County, Sonny Spurlock. I just couldn't compete with the money. And he's an outstanding football coach and even better person. We miss him, and we're trying to fill that void now. And didn't have any other changes on my staff, but Doug Huff is my defensive coordinator, and just a hard-working, thorough coordinator. But he's also a great man, and he loves kids, and spends most of his time pouring into them, trying to make them better. We're so fortunate to have him here on our staff and his entire family as well.
We're talking with Coach Lee Homskis, head coach of the Lincoln County Red Devils. Winners over McCormick last night, 48-6. Next week on the road at ECI. Coach, as always, is great to talk to you. Have a great weekend, and we'll hope you'll take our call again in a few weeks.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for what you do for high school football.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Coach Lee Homskis, the Red Devils of Lincoln County, and I've been talking to this man on the radio for years, and I'm going to tell you, a very classy act. He has been more than fair to us, and we appreciate him. And I tell you, there's some great coaches out there.
Yeah, there is. Coach or Bruce, he was talking about, being out there in the heat and everything, and you brought that up about, he's right. We didn't usually play football until after Labor Day. And when I was growing up, we didn't have air conditioning in my house. My parents didn't get air conditioning in my house, so I was in the military. I came home to visit. I'm like, what is this?
I think when I was in school back in the mid-'70s, wasn't even air conditioning.
Well, they had adobe houses too. You didn't have windows; you just had openings.
Of course, we grew up outside. There was 11 kids in my family. When the sun comes up, and we didn't have to be at school or somewhere else, Mama said out the house, and she locked the door, and we didn't get in till the sun went down.
We were throwing hay back in those days. 60 pounds fair bales of hay.
Holy cow!
You talking about in shape, man? Whew. Yeah, better weightlifting.
But it is totally different. We're going to take a break. You're listening to the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show right here on the XL Sports Network.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
For all your tax needs and IRS e-file in Middle Georgia, it's Lester's Income Tax Service at 99 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-1650. Best of luck, Red Devils.
If it's great outdoors is your thing, remember Harris Country Meats. Harris has hunting supplies, fishing, bait and tackle, and a complete garden center. You can also grab a snack for your outing at Harris Country Meats and Grocery, family owned and operated since 1943. You can call them at 478-783-3276, or you can see them at 66 Cochran Highway, Hawkinsville. Harris Country Meats and Grocery. Proud supporters of all
Scoreboard
Red
is a
Devil
great
Athletics.
place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers Pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
If you're near the 341 bypass in Hawkinsville, the smell of the fresh fried chicken may lead you right inside for the best meal you'll ever have. Stop and see Lewis Fowler and his staff at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville for the daily buffet and the daily specials. Come try the Thursday night buffet with shrimp and fish or the Super Sunday buffet after church. Plus, there's full service menu available. And let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, either in-house or on location. The Steakhouse Restaurant on the 341 bypass in Hawkinsville.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show as we continue on this warm Saturday morning. Chuck, the stories of heat everywhere you go. I mean, the heat has been awful across the country, and it's settled down over us. Now, next week, it's supposed to be totally different.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be getting some highs in the middle 80s, and their early estimate is one night at 65, one night maybe at 63. Wow.
Maybe my pool water will cool down. It's like 90 degrees.
But this is just tricking us. We're going to get this weather only into early October.
Yeah.
We always do.
Yeah.
We'll have one or two holdovers.
Yep. This is my favorite time of the year when it starts to cool down. You get that little crisp in the air and low 60s, 50s or whatever. I love it.
Well, even with the low humidity, 90's not that bad.
Too bad. Yeah, 115 in Macon yesterday, what I heard.
Back to the phone line. We go on the line with us this morning, Coach Tim Suttles of the Hawkinsville Red Devils. Good morning, Coach. Coach Suttles. Coach Suttles, you there?
Hold on 1 second. Technical difficulties.
Coach, you there? All right, we're gonna call Coach right back and reconnect with him. We got a little extra time right here. We got scores built into this one, so we're pretty good. Chuck, got some scores for us?
Yes, sir. Sure do, Bruce. Cartersville and Jonesboro played last night. Cartersville won that 24-13. Central Carrollton over Bowden, 34-14. Coffee over Bainbridge, 23-14. Colquitt County over Stockbridge, 47-27. Dodge County over West Lawrence, 20-10. Early County over Seminole County, 33-13. Fitzgerald beat Turner County, 43-19. Flowery Ranch played St. Pius, 31-13. Flowery Ranch on top of that one. Greater Atlanta Christian, 36-13 over Lovett. Hebron Christian, 13. Villa Rica 6. Hilton Head, South Carolina played Claxton, won 29-12. Big showdown in Houston County last night where the Bears took on the Perry Panthers. And that one was 42-35. And getting some updates from my son-in-law on that one. That was a great game.
Okay, back to the phone lines. We go on the line with us now, Coach Tim Suttles, Hawkinsville Red Devils. Good morning, Coach.
How you doing?
Good, Coach. How about yourself?
I'm doing great.
I tell you, hot week of practice, I'm sure, this week.
It was extremely hot, and, we had to do a lot of things differently. Felt kind of weird, doing practicing football with no helmets and trying to get indoor practice in when, there's not a lightning storm outside. It was a unique week for sure. But felt like we got better this week. Had to overcome the circumstances, and no need to complain because everybody in the state's dealing with it.
And Coach, every afternoon, of course, I'm have had pickup duty out there on that asphalt for the last 7+ years, and I tell you, the afternoons I go home and I'm soaked from one end to the other. I can't imagine being in any kind of football equipment now with it like it is.
Yeah, you're right, and we've really tried to focus on nutrition this week. Every single day this week, we've tried to get some extra food or do something extra to get our kids to put something in their body. Give them snacks before practice, and then we'd break our practices up, and we would. When we were watching film halfway through practice, they'd get another snack and a drink, a Gatorade or a water, and then after practice they were getting something. So we tried to do every single thing we could that we could think of to, be prepared for what we got coming today.
What a difference time makes. I was in high school from 75 through the 77 football season. Back then we ate handfuls of salt tablets, and our drink of choice at halftime was 6.5-ounce Cokes.
Well, a lot of schools still give the visiting team a cooler of sodas in the locker room, but typically those often make it back to the coach's office. But yeah, it is so different. But the salt intake still is key. When you get mine and your age, you're trying not to have salt intake. But one morning this week we gave them grits, and we had 4 different flavors of salt for them to add on the grits. But hey, I'm kind of jealous of these kids. They're getting cheese grits, protein bars, and so forth. And I just remember, getting out of school and putting it on, and nobody was thinking about nutrition and so forth. But
That's right.
But realistically, also, back when I was playing and you were playing, we hadn't even really kicked off the first game yet. Everything's been pushed up so far that this is really, we've already played 2 scrimmage games and a season opener, and 25 years ago for me, we were getting ready to play our season opener probably about this time. So
was he listening to our last conversation?
Up, so that's a lot different.
Coach, I got to tell you, I really appreciate the fact you think we're that close in age. I probably owe you lunch for that
y'all
one.
Y'all might have kicked off about Thanksgiving weekend or something. But we were playing around Labor Day.
Holy cow. My last football season was last ball game was November the 7th, 1977.
Well, I was 7 years. I was 7 years out from being born.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, absolutely. Well, Coach, eventually you'll grow up too. Coach, any injuries to speak of coming out of last week?
Nothing new from last week. Actually, they're probably a little bit healthier than we were last week. Naeem Blair played last week. Really hobbled. I'd say he's probably at about 75% last week, and we feel like he's a lot stronger. He had an ankle injury in our second scrimmage against Vilewood, so we feel like he's getting close to back to where he was before that injury. We also added Peyton Rogers back to our active group. He missed last week. He played center for us the first 2 scrimmage games, and had a little knee injury, and he's back in pads. He got a few reps in the JV game Thursday. We really were glad we had Amari Hunt back for a couple days. But we kind of decided he needs to hit the brakes because he isn't ready to go. So we're not quite ready to get him back. We look forward to when we do get him back, and he's getting closer and closer, but just not yet. He had, in that first game against Bleckley, the scrimmage game, he got tackled from behind and kind of got folded up funny, and just a lower leg injury that just keeps causing him some pain and discomfort. So hopefully he won't be far out, but we may be, other than when we first kicked it off, we may be as healthy as we've been since the first kickoff.
We're talking with Coach Tim Suttles of the Hawkinsville Red Devils tonight, 6 o'clock kickoff at Rutland. Coach, I'll be there. The question is if I'm going to be able to get on there. I've been calling up there all week because I know late in the season last year they didn't allow a broadcaster up. And I still, as of this morning, have not got an answer one way or the other. And I've made probably 12 to 15 attempts, left messages, emails, and calls and texts. And still nothing. I'm going to go up and take my equipment. I'll at least be there to do updates and an article for the paper next week. But I'll see you up there at Rutland tonight.
All right, sounds great. I'm looking forward to it, Bruce.
All right, Coach. Thanks. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you tonight.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Coach Tim Suttles of the Hawkinsville Red Devils. Odd situation. Still don't know if I'm going to be on the air. I've never been in this situation. Never.
I just find it really hard to believe the Bibb County Sport Complex wouldn't let official media person be on the air.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. We're going to take a break. You listen to Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show right here on the XL Sports Network.
When moving to a new community, what are some things you look for? Clean neighborhoods, hospital, cost of living, a good grocery store, or is it education? In Hawkinsville, we feel as though we have some of it all, especially education. Along with the education factors, how about some of the other things that make a student well-rounded? Things like one-act plays, drama, baseball, softball, or football. At Hawkinsville High School, it's about the total package. There's nothing like a Friday night at Bobby Gentry Stadium with a big red marching machine playing the Washington and Lee Swing. Go Red Devils!
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough, and call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law, Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
Your tax needs and IRS e-file in Middle Georgia, it's Lester's Income Tax Service at 99 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-1650. Best of luck, Red Devils.
If it's great outdoors is your thing, remember Harris Country Meats. Harris has hunting supplies, fishing, bait and tackle, and a complete garden center. You can also grab a snack for your outing at Harris Country Meats and Grocery, family owned and operated since 1943. You can call them at 478-783.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough, and call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law, Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show as we continue on this Saturday morning. A couple more scores with Chuck as we get our next caller on the line.
All right, Bruce. We'll start off with Hughes and McEachin. 40-9 was the winner. Hughes was winner on that one. Jefferson over Wren, South Carolina, 30-14. Jenkins over Bluffton, South Carolina, 41-14. Jenkins County over Johnson County, 28-26. That sounded like a good game right there. Jones County, Coach Mike Chastain took on Decula, beat them 37-19. I think we'll be talking to Coach Mike Chastain here in a little while. Lee County won over Hapeville Charter, 51-14. They keep rolling. Lincoln County, we just talked to Coach from Lincoln County, 49-6 over McCormick, South Carolina. Macon County 22, Clinch County 19, another good game. Marion County 33, Southland Academy 21. Metter over Emmanuel County ECI 17-10, I believe was the score of that game. Mill Creek beat Norcross 27-13. Northside beat Peach County 28-17. Bruce, Coach Westbrook over at Peach County is finding a little tough over there in that classification. I guess it's a little different leaving from Warner Robins going over to Peach County. A little bit different over there.
And it's going to take a while to implement his program, and because I know he's going to probably change some stuff.
He's a great coach. It really surprises me he starts 0-2, but I think he'll get it turned around, no problem.
Okay, back to the phone line we go. On the line with us, Coach Maurice Freeman, Brooks County. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, glad to have you on. My partner, Eddie, who's been with me the last several years, asked me last weekend if I could get you on the air with us. He said he loves listening to you, and I said, well, I think we can work that out. I believe Coach will give us a few minutes.
Yeah, I will.
Coach, glad to have you with us. Last night on the road at Wayne County, what can you tell us?
Wayne County has a pretty doggone good football team. He has made a tremendous turnaround with that program over there. They've got a great running back. We're young, and we need some time to continue to grow and get better in all aspects of the game. But they jumped out on us 14-0 right there at halftime. But the good thing about it, not another point was scored in the second half. I think we kind of settled down a little bit. And we moved the ball well. We got into the red zone 4 or 5 times, and we got a couple of turnovers. We did not capitalize on those, so I'm a little disappointed in that. But, they're the growing pains that we know that we have to go through. All of these teams we beat last year, the Bainbridge, the Wayne County, the Thomasville, but we're a little young. We got 6 seniors, and that's a tough pill to swallow. But hey, we're going to get better as time goes on, and we're going to take our lumps. But if we can continue to improve from the Thomasville game to the Wayne County game, if we can continue to improve like that, then I think we're going to be okay.
Coach, when you look at the makeup of your team, tell us a little bit about your offense.
Well, I got a fullback playing quarterback. That kid is playing his butt off. He's playing hard. We got some skilled kids. They're a little bit young, but they're going to be okay. The best thing about us is we've got experience on the offensive line and a little size. We've got Chris Cole Jr. at running back, and he's going to have his days when he's going to do great. Right now, we're just running into some buzzsaws, and that's life. And we've got a 9th grader that's been offered by UCL at receiver also. So we've got some talent. We just got to continue to work on it and put it together, and I think we'll be okay offensively.
Coach, I thought about you last Friday night. We were on the road up at Portal, and they got a Coleman kid at quarterback. Remind me of the kid, I can't remember her name, I apologize, that you had when y'all went to Dublin in 2020. A good-looking little athlete, and that's what that kid kind of reminded me of your guy.
Yeah, Jamal Sanders. He's at Fort Valley playing running back and slot receiver now.
Wow, man, that was impressive night. Me and my son and his my little grandson, we went over and watched that night, and we were highly impressed with the skill of your offense.
Well, we've had some very, very talented teams. We expect this team to show us the same thing eventually, and if we can just continue to be patient, we'll be okay.
We've been talking to Coach Maurice Freeman of Brooks County. Next week, we'll take on Cook. Coach, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Have a great weekend. We'll get you on again in a few weeks.
Thank you. Back to the drawing board.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Take care.
All right. As we try to get our next caller on the line, Chuck will give us a few more scores.
All right, Bruce, continue down the scoreboard. Pace Academy was the winner last night over Westminster, 33-31. Parkview over Shiloh, 60-0. Pierce County over Jeff Davis, 41-0. Portal beat Twiggs, 44-0. Spalding County 28, Mary Persons 14, Swainsboro 46, Washington County 6, Taylor County 31, Crawford County 0. And back to the phone lines we go. We got Coach Ron Duncan from Trimms County. Coach, how you doing this morning? Coach Duncan, can you hear me? All right, Coach Duncan, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yeah.
Hey, Coach. How you doing today? How's it going today, Coach?
I've been better, but we got to get better. I see that. So,
yeah,
another day to get there.
So, Coach, talk about your game last night.
Well, we got a young bunch, man, and first game for us was last night. First game got canceled. And, Bacon County, they got a veteran group that, we saw some things on for film from last week against Lanier, that we thought we might be in trouble. And they certainly played. They played a lot better last night than they did the previous week. They made a bunch of improvement, and they're a tremendous amount better than they were last year. Like I said, we're probably starting 8, 9, 10 freshmen and sophomores on both sides of the ball. I mean, it's a young bunch, probably the youngest I've ever coached. We've only got one senior that's played a lot, and it's going to be tough, but we got a really good group of young guys coming, and I think we're fixing to make another run in a couple of years.
Coach, I tell you, having a young team like that, it's actually kind of encouraging. I know when you're going through those pains, those growing pains. And Coach, I've been there as a coach. I was there as a player, having a young team, playing on a young team, and then seeing them after I left, win a state championship because they just grew up, and then also coaching, having a team that were basically all freshmen and sophomores and getting your light speed out. But those kids stay with the program, and they buy into your culture, and then you get to enjoy the fruits of that labor later on. And it sounds like that your kids keep buying into that culture you got, Coach, that it will turn around.
Well, this young bunch we got is probably one of this freshman group is probably the second best group we've had come through here since I've been here in 12 years. And they're not only good athletes, but they've got character. And there's years, if you're in coaching long enough and you know this, there's years where you don't have the best character, and you've got to unfortunately, you got to get rid of some kids and keep your program stable. And we've had to do that, and we're going to do it again. It's part of it. And I want to give kids opportunities. That's what I believe in. But we got to look out for this program first, and we got to drain the swamp, I believe.
No, there's no doubt. Sometimes you do have to do that, and we've had to do that in the past, and places that I've been at, and you'll come out the other side in better shape. Coach, as far as your
we're gonna be great. We're gonna be fine.
Yes, sir. Coach, how about your injuries? You got any injuries, significant injuries on your team that you have right now?
Well, we lost a kid. We lost what would have been a 4-year starter on the offensive line and defensive line. We lost him during wrestling season with a torn ACL, and he's been gone the whole year. He's a great kid. Hate he missed his senior year, but other than that, I think we're fairly healthy. We got to just get better every week, and we ain't been able to practice this is not an excuse. Don't get me wrong. Everybody's in the same boat unless you got an indoor facility. But we practiced 3 times in pads probably in the last 2.5 weeks. And, we've gone later at night, tried to do this, try to wait. But we got a long way to go, and we're going to get there. And but now we're healthy as we can be. Maybe not mentally. Yeah. But we're going to get there, too.
Yeah. Coach, talk about losing a player to another sport. And when I was coming up, you couldn't just play football. I played at Warner Robins, and Coach Davis would not let his players just play football. You had to do something else. You had to run track, cross country, wrestle, something like that. So you hate to lose a kid in another sport. But I tell you, I think that the kids who play multiple sports are better. Their character, I think, is a lot better a lot of times, and their condition, mental and physical condition, better. Especially come out of wrestling. That's a great sport for a kid to play in the off season for football.
There's nothing better. And I played baseball and football in high school, and when you're at bat and you got a 3-2 count, I mean, that tells you a lot about yourself. Down a run, runner on second. I mean, you learn a lot from every sport, and they all translate to each other. I tell our kids, I want you to do it all. And you play football, play basketball, play baseball, run track, do whatever you can do. Wrestle. We got a good wrestling coach. He coaches defensive ends, former Griffin Green. And, it just is what it is. We got to get those kids involved. Sometimes it happens, man, and there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. Great kid. Hated for him, but hopefully he'll be back by wrestling. And we can get him at least have, some athletics his senior year.
Well, Coach, thanks for being on the show, talking to Coach Ron Duncan. Coach, good luck going forward, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
See
you.
You listen to the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show right here on the XL Sports Network.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
Main streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
The answer to your insurance needs is simple. The Grimsley Agency. No matter your needs, life, auto, or home, it's the Grimsley Agency. You can trust Danny Grimsley and his staff with great coverage for your whole family. New car or home, the answer is the same. The Grimsley Agency. Give them a call at 783-2581 or see them at 203 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Proud supporters of all Red Devil athletics. When I say Hawkinsville Dispatch and News, few things pop into your mind. Community involvement, community awareness, covering what matters to the people of Pulaski County and serving the area since 1866. However, it is much more than that. It's office supplies for home, business, or school. It's also your headquarters for large print copies for all your business and construction needs. So when you need a copy of your construction plans, no need to go out of town. See Chuck and his staff. You may call today, 783-1291, or see them at 329 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Hawkinsville Dispatch and News, serving the finest people in the world since 1866.
Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers Pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show as we continue. Heck of a lineup so far. I mean, and folks, it's only going to get better as we move forward.
Yes, sir. The coaches are gracious to give us some time and talk about their games. But for now, Bruce, let's go ahead and hit some of these games last night. I went through the scoreboard. I got some more scores later on, but kind of want to go over a couple of these games that seem very interesting. Dodge County and West Lawrence. Bruce, that was like a good game last night.
That thing over the years has always been a very exciting ball game. Those two teams always play very tight, close ball games. And the funny thing about West Lawrence, they're in a higher classification, have been for a while. But those guys are so close. I mean, we're talking 15, 18 miles apart, and they just play totally different. It's like a backyard game. Yeah. And, year in and year out, you got a 3-point game, a touchdown, and lots of times they're low-scoring defensive battles. But that, again, is, like I said, it's a neighborhood brawl. It's what it is. Those guys have been playing each other for a number of years. It's like, you got Blakely and Dodge County, Blakely and Dublin, Dodge and Dublin, and you throw West Lawrence. West Lawrence in with the Blakely and Dodge County. Those guys have just been tremendous over the years with their games. And I'm going to tell you something. Last night, Dodge County, of course, trying to rebound after the tough loss to Blakely when they were up 7-0 to lose it in overtime, 10-7. West Lawrence last night, a 20-10 Dodge County win, just as close and tight as we expect.
Yeah, yep. And and another one, the good game last night. I was getting updates from my son-in-law. Was the Hoko and the Perry game. I guess Hoko scored a touchdown with a couple minutes left in the game, but missed the extra point. They were down 35-34, and then they go down and they get the ball back, go down with 43 seconds left to go in the game, and score a touchdown and won the game 42-35. So we'll probably talk to John Nelson a little bit. I think John was at that game last night. That was a good game for them to be at, and that's also a backyard brawl there too. That's a county showdown there.
And it is. It was a tough one, a little closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But a heck of a ball game. Well, we're going to take a break. You'll listen to the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show right here on the XL Sports Network.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
When I say Hawkinsville Dispatch and News, few things pop into your mind. Community involvement, community awareness, covering what matters to the people of Pulaski County and serving the area since 1866. However, it is much more than that. It's office supplies for home, business, or school. It's also your headquarters for large print copies for all your business and construction needs. Call today, 783-1291, or see them at 329 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Hawkinsville Dispatch and News, serving the finest people in the world since 1866. When moving to a new community, what are some things you look for? Clean neighborhoods, hospital, cost of living, a good grocery store, or is it education? In Hawkinsville, we feel as though we have some of it all, especially education. Along with the education factors, how about some of the other things that make a student well-rounded? Things like one-act plays, drama, baseball, softball, or football. At Hawkinsville High School, it's about the total package. There's nothing like a Friday night at Bobby Gentry Stadium with a big red marching machine playing the Washington and Lee Swing. Go Red Devils!
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough, and call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
You're listening to the Saturday Morning Quarterback Show on the XL Sports Network. Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show as we continue. Fastest 3 hours in radio. We go off there at 12 o'clock. Folks, head on out to the Steakhouse. Get a great meal. Get you some fried chicken, some good vegetables, a great salad, and, of course, the dessert bar. All that out at the Steakhouse Restaurant. They'll treat you better than family.
And remember, Sunday is always Thanksgiving.
Holy cow. That turkey and dressing and that gravy and that cranberry sauce, you can't get any better than that.
Tastes just like Granny's, man, I'm telling you.
Better than my Granny's. Back to the phone line we go. On the line with us now, Coach Scott Roberts of Swainsboro. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Coach, glad to have you with us this morning. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to spend it with us.
Oh, I'm glad to be with you guys.
Well, Coach, last night, Waco, what can you tell us about it?
I mean, it was really tough sledding for us. They put a lot of people in the box against us and made us throw the football a little bit. But, and it was really, really tough in the first half. And then things kind of got away from them in the second half. And we finally started putting some stuff together in the second half. And,
of course, that program over there has produced a lot of great players over the years and is always a very tough team to play.
Absolutely. That was one of the things we talked to our kids about was that,
Swainsboro, Washington County, that's one of the premier games in the state, this Friday night. And they need to embrace the fact that they get to play in this rivalry, and, how is history going to look back on this team.
And sometimes with the kids, it doesn't seem like that really registers on them until they're years down the road, and they look back and really get a chance to reflect, looking back and think about where they were at and what they were doing, and really how important that was in the scheme of the high school football.
Yeah, and I think it was like that, when we were in high school too. You don't know exactly where your place is in history and how important the moment is, and that's one of the things that we try and make sure that these kids understand, that it is important. When you're in communities like this, that it's very important, and how history looks back at you is that's up to you.
And of course, Coach, I played. We weren't very good at the time, but I played for Coach Bobby Gentry. 200-game winner, had 3 state championships, and at the time, even as a kid, I realized who I was playing for. But as I look back, and of course, we went through. I went through the integration time, and we combined the 2 schools, and we went from the smallest classification to the next to highest classification almost overnight.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big jump right there.
But you know what? It was good growing for us, and for us, it just seemed normal. Everything was great. We had a good time. But I look across the state, and there's so many great coaches and so many great programs, and I don't believe that people realize how really important they are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best historian, but I am a big fan of history of Georgia high school football, and it is. It's small, and I grew up in a small town in Irvine County, and I'm very honored to be able to coach in a small town like Swainsboro, and I just love the feel of what football means in those communities.
Coach, coming up next, you're on the road at Jeff Davis.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Helton's teams are always going to be really tough. I know that they struggled a little bit last year, but that you're going to play a physical football team, and they're probably going to be the most physical football team that we've played so far. And our kids know. I mean, every time we go to Jeff Davis, it's a battle. And 2 years ago we went down there, and and that ended up being for our region championship at the time, but we're in different classifications now. But I know that he does a great job, always has, and that you're in for a physical battle when you play him.
Coach Scott Roberts, head coach of Swainsboro Winners over Waco last night, 46-6. Next week on the road at Jeff Davis. Coach, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I want to wish you guys a lot of success next week, and continue the great work that you're doing up there. We'll continue to follow you.
God, thank you very much, and I appreciate what you guys do for high school football in Georgia.
Thanks, Coach. We couldn't do it without y'all.
All right.
Have a great weekend. Coach Scott Roberts, and I'll tell you what a tremendous job he is done at Swainsboro. He's been there 9 seasons. He's 69-30. He's had 3 region championships, and when you look at their record, it started out 5-5, and he's had a lot of success through the years. In 22, they went 13-1, and the year before they went 11-3.
Yeah, he's got a special player down there. I think DeMello Jones is one of his players down there, committed to Georgia, and one of the top 100 players in the nation.
Back to the phone lines. We go on the line with us now, Coach Dwight Jones, head coach of Pacelli. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good, Coach. What was it, birthday number 39?
Yeah, you better. My wife's a math teacher, so we always subtract. So, yeah.
Coach, I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say you're still younger than me.
I don't know that now. I've got some age on me now. So,
well, I got to let the cat out of the bag. Coach Hamner let me know it was your birthday.
Yeah, well, Lee always, he only does that because he knows I'm a few years older than he is, so he loves gigging me about that. Man.
Oh, gosh. Of course, we got to know Coach Hamner when he was up in Middle Georgia. He used to be a regular with us on the lineup and sizes program from the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville. And, of course, he was on this program a lot over the years, and we still consider him a friend, and anytime he reaches out, we try to talk to him.
He's a great guy, and does a great job for us, and I've been blessed to be with Lee for a long time now. So he does a great job for us, and like I said, it's been good for us and at the Chelly with him being here.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about your game last night.
Yeah, we got our tail whipped the week before, and we didn't know which way this group was going to go, but they responded in a very positive manner, and it was a good win for us. Played, hard on both sides of the football. We had some big plays offensively, but we gave us some big plays defensively. But we still, we're young, and these guys played extremely hard last night.
Coach, 50-35 shootout. Tell us a little bit about your offense and how things went for them.
Okay, offensively, I think, like you said, Coach Hamner did a great job calling game plan. Our two running backs, Corvée James and Jason Nelson, really had some big runs. We got up under center, run some wing T stuff. Then we got in the gun and still ran some wing T principles. So we had a couple of long runs. And then we had a touchdown pass. Tristan Brown, our quarterback, hit our tight end Omar Kimbrough for a touchdown pass right before the half, and that made a little bit difference. And then they're number 3 from tackles, a tremendous athlete. They're huge up front, and they did a great job on option. And option, you got to be a disciplined football team with all 3 phases. Fullback, dive, quarterback, and pitch. And we would take care of the quarterback and dive, but sometimes we forgot about the pitch. And it wasn't good for us on that end of it, but they did a good job.
Coach, I'm gonna let my partner here. He coached some in the private school ranks up in Macon. He probably understands a little bit about some of the stuff, even though you play in the publics. He probably understands a little bit of what's going on. Chuck,
Bruce, private school and public school play the same sport.
I realize that.
We each have 11 players on each side of the football. Line of scrimmage always decides who's going to win the football game, and preparation is the key.
Coach, I think he's a astronomy or astronomist or something. I don't know. He's a little bit. He may get out his astrology chart or something.
I'll tell you this, Coach. When you get down there in Tatnall, and you see Tatnall this weekend, their offensive coordinator is Chris Oxford. Chris and I coached at Covenant for several years. He's a good man. Shake his hand. Tell him Chuck Ferguson interviewed you, and tell him that I said, hey.
I will.
He's a good guy. Coach, going forward at Tatnall, what do you see on film from them? I know you probably had maybe a little opportunity this morning to look at them, or
sure you've seen something. We played Tatnall last night.
Oh, you played Tatnall last night. I'm sorry, I thought that was the next game.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, we played Tatnall last night, and able to get a win. But yeah, they're going to be a good football team. They're dynamic on offense with 3 back there, either at tailback or at quarterback. And like I said, they're big up front on the offensive line.
Yeah. So, Coach, going forward, what is so tell me about your team as far as are you healthy on your both sides of the ball? You got any injuries?
We had one last week, a young freshman that was going to be a heck of a player for Cam Carino, broke a leg, and he's going to be out for the rest of the year. But other than that, we came through last night. Just heat and humidity drained us, and we told them we got to do a great job of recovery. But we just got to get ready now to for our next week game against Lakeview, and hope we'll keep a positive momentum going next week at practice, and hopefully the weather will break a little bit. That's what we're hoping for also.
Man, wouldn't it be nice to have an indoor facility to practice in?
Well, we do have that now. We do have that, and we've been blessed. We got it this. We actually went in August the 12th, and we went in. It's been great for us. So we're one of maybe the few private schools around that has an indoor facility, but it's been awesome for us. And We get a lot done. All that we can't do in there, we can't do our special teams in there because of the height of the ceiling, and we can't do any, a whole lot of pass scale in there.
Wow,
but
that's great.
Anything else, inside drill, out, anything we want to do, we can do it, and we put pads on and go play football now.
So, Coach, going forward, Lakeview, what have you seen on them?
I haven't watched film yet. I'm finishing up with a Tatner game right now and washing clothes in between, and then I will come back and trying to get our game uniforms ready again. But they'll be well coached. They'll be a good football team. Got to go to Gainesville, but it'll be a long road trip for us. But, we just got to do what we do and take care of Pacelli. We always talk about, do the little things right. Don't beat yourself. Don't turn the ball over. Don't have stupid mistakes. And, it will be okay. But we'll have our hands full no matter who we play every Friday night.
That's right. Coach Dwight Jones from Pacelli, Coach, we really appreciate you being with us today. Good luck going forward, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yes, sir. You too.
And again, happy birthday.
And happy birthday. So, Bruce, we're going to go through the scoreboard some more?
Yeah, but I want to remind everybody, we will be on the air. I got a call. That's the reason I kind of bailed on you a couple segments back. My phone rang, and it was one of them calls that I felt I had to take. It was the athletic director up in Bibb County. He called me to verify that we're good to go. But up until then, there was no guarantee at that point whether we were going to be able to get in. It was Coach Kevin Grooms. He's the athletic director for all of Bibb County, and he apologized, but we will be on the air. Pre-game will start at 5:30, kickoff 6 o'clock, and of course it'll be right here on the river.
I will be with some family this afternoon, so I won't be there, but I think I might turn my radio on and listen to you on the radio. So, going through the scoreboard, Spalding County played Mary Persons and won 28-14. Swainsboro over Washington County. We just talked to Swainsboro coach, 46-6. Taylor County over Crawford County, 31-0. Thomas County Central, 45 over Thomasville. 45-7. We'll be talking to Coach Rogers here in just a little bit.
And I tell you what, he has done a heck of a job down there. And that was one of the jobs that, they've had some good coaches over the last several years, but that is a tough fan base. It's almost like Lowndes or Valdosta or Colquitt or one of them. Very tough, fan base. You can win 9 or 10 games. That's not good enough.
Justin Rogers has done nothing but win everywhere he's been.
Oh, absolutely.
Everywhere he's been. He's a great coach.
And we became, on the air friends with him when he was at Jones County, and he has continued to be with us, and we appreciate that. But he does a heck of a job down there. The program is great.
Yep, sure is. Let's see. Thompson 46-7 over Jefferson County. Toombs County over Wheeler County 49-6. Veterans undefeated beat Griffin 35-0. Vidalia over Beach 61-0. Wayne County 14. Brooks County 0. Westlake 50. Crisp County 12. 50-12. Westover over Sumter County 30-18. Westside Macon over Southwest. That's an eternal battle in Macon there, 35-28. That sounds like a good game there. You're going to have Coach Spoon against Joe Dupree. Played against Joe Dupree in high school. He also played for the Bulldogs. And Coach Spoon, we talked to him last week. What a great man that is. That sounds like that was a good game. And then finally, Worth County over Mitchell County, 44-12. That's all the scores that we have for this. I can probably look at some more, Bruce, if we need to.
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay on that. Again, we're here each week throughout the course of the season. Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show, fastest 3 hours in radio. We take a spin around the state, get you caught up with interviews with the coaches involved in the games across the state of Georgia. And, of course, the last half hour is traveling with John Nelson. And, of course, he and Eddie take a look at the big game of the week in Georgia High School. And then they take a look at the college games, and they break down the different games. And, give their analysis on them. And of course, we appreciate John. John takes our call week in and week out. And we started calling it traveling with John because in the early days, he really was on the road a lot. Now, it slowed it down when COVID came, but geez, we may talk to John, California, Texas, up in New York. We've talked to him in New York and different places like that. And it is great to have him on wherever he's at in his analysis. Of course, he's written several books, and he's just, he's just a lot of knowledge built up in that man over the years.
He is, half the time we talk to him, he's on the road to the Plains.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah. Him and the boss.
And I don't ever remember him telling me that he was on the road down to Tally. I don't know that he even goes to his alma mater.
He still hasn't forgiven them. He doesn't really talk about them a whole lot.
No, he doesn't. But I think he's going to have something to talk about this year. I really do.
I think it's that he is about still giving them still calling them Free Shoes University. We'll take a break. You're listening to Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show right here on the XL Sports Network.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
For all your tax needs and IRS e-file in Middle Georgia, it's Lester's Income Tax Service at 99 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-1650. Best of luck, Red Devils. Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers Pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show as we continue. Coming to you live from the Dave Venable Studios in downtown Hawkinsville. Bruce, Chuck, Ken over on the phone. Ken was just looking at me. I paused for a second, and I guess he thought something was wrong, maybe.
Yeah, I didn't know what
There's a lot of stuff wrong, trust me.
Did I miss something?
No, didn't miss anything.
Hey, we were talking earlier in the show about Darryl Silas, and I'm like, why does that name sound familiar?
Yeah.
I played college football with him. We played. He wore number 19. That was my number, and I got there and I said, "Hey, can I have your number?" He said, "I'll sell it to you for $50." I said, "I ain't buying your number for $50." And I wore number 18. Bruce, I got a picture. I'll show you here in a minute. Yep, me and Darryl Silas in the same defensive backfield.
Back to the phone lines. We go on the line with us now, Coach Tim Hardy of Greater Atlanta Christian. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How are you guys doing today?
Good, Coach. Glad to have you with us. Last night on the road at Lovett, Coach Mike Muschamp and company. Tell us a little bit about it, Coach.
Yeah, I always have great respect for Coach Muschamp. He's an outstanding coach. We've enjoyed competing against each other for a while. Yeah, it was a good night for us. We ended up with a strong win, led by a really good offense. We ended up with 600 yards of offense. Quarterback Jack Stanton threw for 390, 197 of those to wide receiver Xavier Daisy, and then we had a running back, GL Tibera, that ran for 170. So we bogged down a few times in the red zone and had some threes instead of sevens, but felt really good about the way we competed and how we were able to perform. So good win for the Spartans.
Coach, tell us a little bit about your offense this year. That's one thing about high school ball. Kids come and go, and some develop, some don't, and then of course injuries. So give us a breakdown of what your offense looks like.
Yeah, here on the 26th of August, we're in good shape in that we've got a really good group of senior guys that are all back from last year. So again, sort of led by our quarterback, Jack Stanton, is a senior returning starter. And then we've got a really good receiver, Xavier Daisy, who's, a definite, FBS prospect, and then a good running back. So, yeah, we're trying to be pretty diverse. We want to be balanced, both ability to throw the ball in and run it effectively. Got a good group. We're not the biggest up front, but the group's playing well together as a team. And you know how that is. Offensive line is as much about the total sum of those parts than the individual guys themselves. So they're working well together.
Coach, I got a chance to see Coach Muschamp and his team. They went to Chris County, I guess, 2 or 3, 4 years ago, and I got a chance to go down and watch them. And probably not the biggest guys, but very aggressive, very athletic, and the guys are quick and very smart bunch.
Yeah, Coach Muschamp, they always do a good job, and their guys do. They play hard, they play tough. We told our guys, man, it's going to be, we gotta go the distance. It's the kind of team when you play them, they're not gonna. You get up by a score, they're not gonna back off. And so, on a hot, humid night on the riverbank, literally Lovett Stadium is about 10 feet above the Chattahoochee right there on the riverbank in Atlanta. So it was a steamy night, and everybody was worn out by the end of it, but. Our guys were able to hold on, but they always do a good job of competing hard and playing smart football.
Coach, coming up next, Pace Academy, who I thought pulled off probably one of the bigger wins in the state last night by beating Westminster.
Yeah, Pace is really talented. That was a great win for them. Westminster had a great start to the year, and Pace has got a lot of talent, multiple Power 5 commits, and so it'll be a great challenge. We played them last year. We did not play well, but they beat us by a few scores, and so we're eager to go over to their place and see if we can get a win here in week 3.
Coach, one final question. Everybody's dealing with the heat. How is it affecting y'all, and how y'all coach and how y'all prepare for games and play the games?
Yeah, it's funny. Coach Bach, that Pace and I were just talking about film exchange, and both of us said, man, it's tough because first and foremost, all coaches want to take care of their players. So we get not only follow the regulations, but you want to just do right by them. And so, shorter practices and less stuff. So it turns into you end up doing more walkthrough, you end up doing more of those kind of things. And so you miss out on individual tackling drills or conditioning or full team scrimmages. And so we were both lamenting that it looks a little sloppy right now because we haven't had to be able to do that. But we got to take care of the players first. So anxious for those 98s to turn into 86s so we can get back to normal August weather. And hopefully turn out a better product. But thankful for our training staff, thankful for the leadership around the state that we're able to play, but do it in a smart way where we keep these kids safe.
Coach Tim Hardy, head coach of Greater Atlanta Christian, winners last night over Lovett, 38-13. Coach, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Appreciate you, and we look forward to getting you on again soon.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
All right, Coach. I tell you, Chuck, he runs a great program, and I think him and Lovett were done wrong when they did reclassification. Those guys to get shoved up as high as they were, it wasn't like they were beating the world anyway. Yeah. Great programs, played hard, but bumping them 2 and 3 classifications, that's not right.
Yeah, I understand. But they got rules, and the rules are the rules. But one thing that I see from those guys, they play in the Dome quite a bit in December.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you're right. He's done a good job with that program. It's a good program. One of the better programs in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, very, very classy program. I've got a chance to watch them in the Dome, like you said. It does a tremendous job. Of course, I want to remind you, Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show every Saturday morning. We on from 9 to 12, fastest 3 hours in radio. We talk to coaches from all across state. Nobody does what we do here. We have 16 coaches that we schedule each week. Each one of them gets about a 6.5 to 7 minute interview. And, of course, then we go traveling with John Nelson. I'll stack this 3 hours against anybody, anywhere, and with the contents of the great coaches that we are associated with and have been for a number of years. Chuck, as we get ready this afternoon, I'm going to turn local just a little bit. Hawkinsville Red Devils, where I've been broadcasting since 1993 and thoroughly enjoyed it. Have loved doing it all these years and continue to do so. Tonight, very unusual situation. We're not much in this neck of the woods on a Saturday. I can't think of maybe 2 or 3, and then I think one Thursday over the years. But we were pushed to 4 o'clock today, and then because of the heat conditions, we will kick off at 6 o'clock up at Rutland at Ed DeFore Sports Complex with a heat index of 107.
So I left yesterday. I had to go to Macon. Actually, I was right there near the Bibb County Sports Complex last night. I had to go up there for a funeral visitation, and I left my house at 6:15 at 100 degrees.
Wow. Yes, it's going to be tough. Not only players, it's going to be tough on the fans as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be brutal.
Yeah, like we had talked about earlier in the show, we played in these conditions back when we were younger, but the difference is back then we didn't have AC that we sat in all day.
Oh, absolutely.
That makes a big difference. Your bodies were conditioned to it. Go ahead.
On the line with us now, Coach Jason Strickland, Ware County. Good morning, Coach.
Hey, guys. How we doing, man?
Good. I was down in your neck of the woods the other day. My sister was supposed to have surgery. Her doctor was sick, so they had to cancel that. I should have called you and come eat lunch with you.
Absolutely. Anytime you're down this way.
Oh, jeez. Well, she's going to have surgery, having it rescheduled in the next few weeks. I may call you and seriously come by and see you.
That would be wonderful. I'd love it. I'd love it.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about Richmond Hill last night.
Oh, man, what a really well-coached football team. And, I've got a lot of respect for Coach Lazat and what he's done over at Richmond Hill. We do a lot of work together in the offseason and trading ideas and usually wind up throwing against each other or doing an OTA together or something like that. So we know each other very well, and it's just kind of one of those nights where we kept it close, and they try to bludgeon your nose to death. But kind of late, we were able to get a couple turnovers and pull away. But I was really, really proud of our effort. But man, what a really well coached football team Coach Lazat's got.
Coach, everybody's been dealing with the heat and humidity. Down in your neck of the woods, it's almost like swamp land down there. Where my sister lives, just right on the edge of town, she is literally in a swampy area down there. I can only imagine how the humidity is for you guys.
Well, you'll say it's not like a swamp area. It is a swamp area.
That's exactly what I said.
But it's been hot. But our guys have adapted well, and I think we got one of the best athletic trainers in the state, and she's done a great job of helping us modify practices and do the things that we need to do to be able to get work on the field. That was the trouble with week one. We were not on the grass a single day going into that season opener, and that always makes you very, very nervous. Last week we were able to get on the grass every day, and I thought it showed last night. But I think the thing that has made it difficult with the weather this August is how mild May and June were. I can remember our graduation here in May, and we're all dressed up and bundled up. It was cold, and then June was really mild. July wasn't bad, but August is coming on, and August is trying to make itself known. It has been really, really hot.
No, no doubt about it. It's been brutal as all get out. So I'm part of the pickup crew out in front of the elementary school every afternoon, and the last week and a half out there on that asphalt has been absolutely horrible.
Yeah. It's one of those deals where you you try to modify, you try to, make sure, that you're giving the kids plenty of breaks and plenty of water. The thing that concerns us is when they're not with us, how are they taking care of their bodies and things of that sort. That first night against Athlon, we just had all kinds of cramping taking place. And it's just, you can't babysit them. You try to educate them. And like I said, I think we've got one of the best athletic trainers in the state. She does a great job of trying to keep them hydrated. But they don't realize how much they have to get in their body when the weather's like it is right now.
Coach, next up, Coach Jesse Hicks in Baldwin.
Yeah, they've got the really good running back. His name slips my mind right now, but big 4-star kid. Looks like he has lit it up the first 2 weeks of the season. And Coach Hicks always has a group that is physical, that wants to run around and make violent contact. So we're getting them back at our place. We had to go to Baldwin last year, and our guys played really well in that game. But we'll get them back at our place this week. It's senior night for us, so there'll be a lot of excitement around Memorial Stadium and the Ware County football team.
Well, Coach, listen, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. If I'm back down that way, I'll give you a holler. Have a great weekend, and good luck next week.
Appreciate it. And I'm going to hold it against you if you don't give me a shout. So, y'all get on down.
Send me a copy of the school menu so I know what day to show up.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Coach.
I think we're going to do something a little better in the school cafeteria, I can tell you that.
All right. That sounds great.
All right, buddy. Y'all appreciate you guys.
Anytime, Coach. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Coach Jason Strickland, Ware County. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Red Devil, Saturday morning quarterback, the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show here on the XL Sports Network. I got to get that out of my system. We'll be back after this.
If you're near the 341 bypass in Hawkinsville, the smell of the fresh fried chicken may lead you right inside for the best meal you'll ever have. Stop and see Lewis Fowler and his staff at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville for the daily buffet and the daily specials. Come try the Thursday night buffet with shrimp and fish or the Super Sunday buffet after church. Plus, there's full service menu available. And let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, either in-house or on location. The Steakhouse Restaurant on the 341 bypass in Hawkinsville.
Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
Let's play Who Wants to Volunteer in Your Community with Ella in Santa Monica, California.
Hey, wait, I don't want to volunteer.
Volunteering can really be fun. In fact, we've asked your entire algebra class here to tell you more.
But we were thinking that you should start tutoring people because you're all, smart and stuff.
I should?
You free tonight?
Sure.
To find out ways you can volunteer in your community, log on to teensvolunteer.org. Do what you like to do. Volunteer. A public service message brought to you by the USA Freedom Corps, the U.S. Department of Justice, the Crime Prevention Coalition of America, and the Ad Council.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
Whatever you want it to be. My mom, B, honey. Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show. I think I got that out of my system, I hope.
Well,
I got all twisted up while ago.
You just practicing for this afternoon.
Well, what it was my head was swimming to where Coach was going to take me to eat down there. I can settle for Olive Garden. That's good enough.
Yeah,
soup and the salad. I'm happy.
I was going to jump in and say, "Hey, Bruce, I'll tag along with you if you want me to go down there with you."
I'll let you drive us down there. You're the official driver, so
I could do that.
You're the chauffeur.
I'll do that.
Holy cow!
For a free meal and hang out with Coach Strickland. yeah, I'll do it.
Great guy, and I tell you, Chuck, when you see the list of guys that we get on a regular basis, again, nobody in the state's got what we got. We're not real polished or real professional. We're kind of laid back, and I try to have say very little to the coach and let him take off and run with it.
Yep.
And we've got some great ones. When you look, we've got guys that are make a lot of deep runs, but then we also got those guys that nobody knows about. May not be from the best program, but you know what? Those guys deserve the same thing everybody else does.
Absolutely. And I tell you what, it's a thrill for me sometimes when I'll see the lineup and go, oh, man, I know that guy. I coached with that guy. I coached against him, or I played with this guy, or I played for his dad or whatever. It's really, really cool to be able to interview those guys.
And, the first time I got Aquinas out of Augusta on, the guy said, why did you call up here to us of all places? Well, because you play football.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to the phone line we go. On the line with us now, Coach Justin Rogers of Thomas County Central. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
Man, it's good to have you back with us this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Like I said, I can remember you going all the way back to Jones County days.
And I was going to a guy that knew you to get equipment when cable went out or something. He worked for Ken Stereo Junction and lived up that way, and all he could talk about was you and your program up there. And Coach, I tell you, from day one we called you, you've been classy, and you've always been free to talk to us. And listen, we appreciate it. We couldn't do it without great guys like you.
Yes, sir. Well, man, anybody who's promoting this great game and just giving recognition to these young men, shoot, I'm for it.
Well, Coach, I tell you what, you kind of turned up the heat since you went in at Thomas County Central, and I tell you what, you got people talking all across the state.
Yeah, it was a lot of low-lying fruit. I mean, it really was. They had a lot of things in place. Had great administration, unbelievable support. They had a hunger to want to be good, and they had good players. And we were able to put together a really good staff. And when you got good staff, good players, good admin, I mean, you got a shot. And so the kids are buying in and getting information. So, yeah, we're super excited about the trajectory of our program and where we feel like it can go.
Coach, last night you took on Thomasville, another team with a great reputation across state, and they played great football. And tell us a little bit about that ball game.
Yeah, that's a big one around here now. I'm from Alabama originally, and so I know all about the Iron Bowl and Auburn, Alabama. And this one right here is red and blue just like that, brother, and it's about just as heated. And so it's a great rivalry game for our city. It's a great time for our city to come over. Man, it was a packed house at the Nest last night. And so just a great atmosphere. And our kids came out and played really well, played pretty clean. It really did. And all three areas of the game, special teams, defense, offense, I thought our guys played really, really good.
Coach, you got coming up next, you got Bainbridge, Coach Jeff Littleton and company down there has done a tremendous job. What can you tell us about those guys?
Yeah, that's no doubt. I mean, it's a heck of a program. They've done it right for a long, long time. Jeff has, and like I say, you wish you had a bye week right here or somebody else because we opened the year. I mean, we opened the year up with Cairo, which is a big rival down here. Right up the road, 20 minutes. They've been playing for years, and then you go straight into the Rose City Rumble with Thomasville. And then you got the Battle of 84 with Bainbridge this week. And so you just play three really highly emotional games, rival games back to back to back. So we got to get up for this one for sure. This one will be our toughest test of the year. And solid football.
And, of course, Coach, after a week off, and I'm not jumping ahead, but our old friend, Coach Maurice Freeman in Brooks County, of course, we talked to him earlier. Now I met him in person. A lot of the guys I talked to, I never meet. But we were up at the championship game the first year at Georgia State, and he was down on the field, and he was wearing this black hoodie, and he had his sledgehammer standing next to him, and I walked down there, was going to speak to him, and he turned his head slowly and looked my way and scared me so bad I took off back up to the stands. And when I talked to him the next season, I said, "Man, you scared me to death," and he laughed at me. But I tell you what, that guy and that program has had such a reputation for so long.
Oh, ain't no doubt. I mean, first off, like you just said, that's a big man. He is a big dude. And but Maurice is just first class, professional. Does a great job of X and O's coaching, but also he's a great motivator and for those kids in that community. And so you play a Brooks County team, you better buckle your chin strap now because they're gonna hit you. So we got that coming up in a couple of weeks, and that's just again right up the road, 20 minutes. And that's fun because you're playing local teams, so you're getting great crowds, and it's so much more fun to play in front of a good crowd and good excitement. It just creates such a great atmosphere.
And the thing about him is that nothing intimidates him. I remember it's probably been 8 or 9 years ago.
If I look like that joker and I was as big as him, I wouldn't be intimidated about nothing either.
That's the reason his players play so good for him, because they're scared of him. Listen, I guess it was 8 or 9 years ago. They went into Valdosta on a Friday night, beat Valdosta at their house. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Jeez.
Don't get me wrong. When you play Brooks, you're always nervous now.
Well, Coach, listen, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show with us. Continue doing the job that you do down there. It's always a pleasure to have you on with us. Good luck to you guys, and I hope you'll take our call again in a few weeks.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Thank y'all, and go Jackets.
We've been talking with, Coach Justin Rogers, Thomas County Central Yellow Jackets. Wow.
He's a great guy. He and I used to talk sometimes at the Piedmont Orthopedic Center there in Macon. We'd take players up there after games on Saturday mornings, and he'd always talk to him about, hey man, you got some guys that you might want to go to public school. If you do, let's talk about moving them in this district.
I've been to that stadium one time, way back. Yeah. Coach Ed Pilcher was coaching. Wow. Geez. Pilcher did everything there. When you talk about it, Pilcher had a team that I think started like 1-4 and won the state championship. And it was a crazy place down there. It was wide open, and crowds are kind of hostile. I went there one night to call in updates because they didn't allow broadcasting from there. And wow, I was highly impressed with the fan base.
Yeah. Bruce, let's go back through the scoreboard again.
Yes.
Anybody missed some of these scores? I'm gonna highlight some of the closer games. Bradwell Institute beat Liberty County 26-13. Less than 2 scores there. Brunswick and Camden County 21-17. When we talked about, we're going to talk about earlier, Buford on the road in North Carolina playing Mallard Creek 10-7. They got the number 1 player in America there at Buford, and they can only score a touchdown and a field goal.
Well, that's kind of programs that they play, though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they're playing a good program, no doubt. Cartersville 24-13 over Jonesboro, pretty close there. We talked about Dodge and West Lawrence, 20-10. Dodge over West Lawrence. Some of the closer games we talked about. Hebron Christian over Villarica, 13-6. Another defensive struggle.
Well, Coach Jonathan Guess is got those guys showing what he's going to make of that program, just like he did at Eagles Landing Christian Academy. That was a program you didn't want to play. When you look back, you got Brooks. You didn't want to play. You didn't want to play them. There are programs like that will step up and play the big boys, and it's a no-win for you.
Yeah.
It's everything for them.
Yeah, Elko played in the Dome a few times as well.
Yeah.
Another good game was Jenkins County 28 over Johnson County 26. Wasn't there a player who came out of Johnson County that maybe played for Georgia?
Are you talking about that Walker kid that ran kind of quick?
Yeah, he was the best player ever to play college.
They came to Hawkinsville in 1977. I guess Herschel was a freshman that year. Knocked out the starting running back, Wani Kaysen. knocked him out of the game early, and then they turned it over to a freshman that, wow.
Were you calling that game? Did you say, my God, a freshman?
No, I was on the other side. He got a pretty good kickoff return off of me, a heck of a stiff arm, and picked up another 10 or 15 yards down the sideline. But what a tremendous ball player!
What an incredible athlete!
Yes,
Macon County 22, Clinton County 19. Another close game. That was a good one.
That's a big win for Macon County. Coach Dexter and Copley and company clinch a top 10 ranked team coming into the season, and to get that win over them, that's very, very impressive.
Metter over ECI. I think it was 17-10. That was another close game. Small schools, but man, I tell you, I bet it was fun to watch.
One thing when I got here this morning at 6:00 and started running down scores. On the 3 different sites I look at, there was no less than about a dozen games that said they had 2 scores reported. So I did research best I could, and I just took one that was the best of the 3. It was really weird. Usually don't. You may get it once or twice a week at most. But there was a lot of them reported kind of different last night.
Maybe it was too hot. People just kind of maybe it
was the sweat and everything smeared on their sheet.
Could be. Pace Academy 33, Westminster 31. Another close game. Big, high scoring game.
Yeah, and I really think that that was probably one of the bigger upsets of the night. Westminster getting beat by Pace, but Pace is playing great. And of course, we talked with Coach Tim Hardy, and we talked about that, and he talked about the talent level and how they beat them by more than a few scores last year. They have things going the right way.
And then finally, another close game in Macon. Westside, Coach Westford beat Southwest, beat Joe Dupree 35-28. I bet that was a fun game. I think it must have been in Henderson Stadium because I think it was at Southwest. So.
Well, the funny thing about that one there is it's kind of like playing Dooley County. Dooley can have not such a good record, but they've got certain ones that they absolutely step up for. And any of those schools, like especially between Southwest and West Side, that's always going to be a battle, and it doesn't mean the guy that's usually on top is always going to win.
That's true. You rivalry games. You're right. You can throw that record out the window. Hey, Bruce, look what the cat drug in.
Eddie probably didn't get in until about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I think they went to Cuba and hung a right. Or no, y'all went north to the Canadian border and hung a right.
Would y'all go to Augusta last night?
No. It was hot. Yeah. Y'all were in Atlanta?
The night before.
Yeah.
The game before. There was just nothing.
Well, it's going to be hot tonight, too. They're looking for 107 heat index at kickoff. I hope that AC's cold. And I did get confirmation. Coach Grooms, the athletic director of Bibb County, called this morning, apologized. He said, I'm sorry that we've had trouble getting back together. He said, absolutely come up, broadcast. We're glad to have you. And I found out something that I didn't know until they sent out their little press release on the rules for the stadium. Athletic director at Rutland now, there was a change. You'll know this name, Daryl Silas.
Oh!
Is it the one we're talking about, or the other Daryl Silas?
No, that Daryl Silas.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He coached here. He was defensive coordinator under Jim Morrell.
Yeah. He goes way back.
I need to talk to Daryl.
Coached at Dooley, and he also coached at Baldwin.
Yes. Oh, and I do want to.
Great guy.
I do want to make
Great
a correction.
coach.
I heard some erroneous information.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Heard some erroneous information. The best athlete that ever plays college football was none other than Bo Jackson.
Come on now.
Best running back,
Eddie, go back and get some more sleep.
Look. No, I agree.
He was one of the best athletes ever.
Herschel was one of the best running backs. I'll give you all that. But the best athlete plays
if you're talking about college athlete, I'll agree with that.
I will too.
College athlete, I'll agree with that.
Bo knows all.
Because I'm telling you something about that dude with the baseball bat and a football. You're right about that.
Listen, if he hadn't messed up his hip like he did, there ain't no telling what that guy would have done.
Tampa
Seriously.
Bay. I don't think he likes Tampa Bay franchise, does he?
Oh no!
No, but I want to tell you something else, too, guys.
Story to that one.
Listen,
I know it.
There will never be backs like them ever again.
No,
never,
I don't.
never.
I mean, the
Never.
closest thing I've seen to those two backs was a kid that came out that played at Texas, or was it Oklahoma? Dupree.
Dupree.
You need to listen to his story.
Wow.
If you ever get a chance, it's powerful. But yeah, those three backs to me were really good.
Okay, you're listening to the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show right here on the XL Sports Network. We'll be back after these messages. Stay tuned.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at this Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers Pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
Volunteers of America is a national organization that for over 100 years has provided programs and services that allow people to overcome their challenges to become vital members of their community. At Volunteers of America, we don't just help people, we help people help themselves. Find out how you can support the programs that are working in your community. Contact Volunteers of America today. Call 1-800-899-0089.
For all your tax needs and IRS e-file in Middle Georgia, it's Lester's Income Tax Service at 99 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-1650. Best of luck, Red Devils.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at this Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers Pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
Volunteers of America is a national organization that for over 100 years has provided programs and services that allow people to overcome their challenges to become vital members of their community. At Volunteers of America, we don't just help people, we help people help themselves. Find out how you can support the programs that are working in your community. Contact Volunteers of America today. Call 1-800-899-0089.
For all your tax needs and IRS e-file in Middle Georgia, it's Lester's Income Tax Service at 99 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-1650. Best of luck, Red Devils.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at this steakhouse restaurant in
I walk the
Hawkinsville.
mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at this Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show. Back to the phone line we go. On the line with us now, Coach Mike Chastain of Jones County. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having us on there.
Coach, glad to have you with us. It's always a pleasure. A great win last night for you guys over Decula, 44-19.
Yeah, no doubt. Our guys answered the bell a little bit last night. Played some physical football. We started out slow against Northside. Didn't play the kind of football that we need to be playing here. And I was really proud of our guys for being really physical last night and flying around. And just good to start hitting on all cylinders a little bit.
Coach, let's talk a little bit about your offense last night. It looks like they had a pretty good night. Tell us a little bit about what makes it tick.
Well, we're pretty up-paced tempo, and when we do that, I think it's going good for us. But you got to get out there and you got to get a first down to get it going real good. And so last night we were able to run the ball a little bit and get some first downs and get the chains rolling and get our tempo going.
And of course, Coach, the heat, everybody's been dealing with it. It's been a big topic. A little bit about maybe how it's affected your practices and your game.
Well, our normal game week schedule is Monday and Tuesday in the afternoon and Wednesday mornings, and it's just made us go in the mornings. And so we for the past couple of weeks we've been in the morning every morning, and going forward next week we'll probably stay close to the same. I got to look at the weather to see the thunderstorms looks like might come in some next week, so that may affect some stuff. But I feel like you just got to go in the morning a little bit more to be able to beat all the regulations these days that they have for us, and it has been hot. So I think it's going to be really, really hot today, it looks like. So hated for some of those guys playing today. They're going to get some delays, and it's going to be tough on them.
Well, Coach, we go to Macon to play Rutland this afternoon. It's kickoff at 6 o'clock. Looking for a heat index of 107 at kickoff. That's going to be brutal. That is.
I can't imagine. Ours was pretty rough last week, but it wasn't nothing like that. I promise.
I would have been fine with it if we kicked off at 8 o'clock this morning. That time of night it's gonna be brutal. I mean, moving it later is not going to help a lot. Until the sun goes down and give it an hour or two, it really won't begin to drop any.
That's right. It was smoking last night pregame and right at kickoff. Then it drops pretty good. So it's definitely good to play 7:30, 8 o'clock games, no doubt.
And, of course, hopefully if the weatherman's right next week, we're going to get a little bit more normal stuff next week. That'll be a nice change of pace. And I know you'd welcome some of that. Y'all headed to Perry next week.
We are. They're really good club. Coach Smith does a phenomenal job getting his guys to play extremely hard, and they got a good squad right now. They got a lot of fast, athletic guys right now. So it's going to be a tough test. We got to be ready to play.
Talking to Coach Mike Chastain, head coach of Jones County. He's winner last night of Decula, 44-19. Next week at Perry. Coach, listen, as always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Good luck to you guys next week. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you for having me.
Anytime, Coach. Thank you. I tell you, he has done a phenomenal job at Jones County, and I tell you what, you take him at Jones County, and you take the job at Smith's done at Perry. That is two programs that is doing things the right way. And I tell you what, Chastain came in behind our old friend Rogers, who is now at Thomas County Central. Wow.
He didn't do such a bad job at his previous location either.
No, heck no. That's what I'm saying. Wow.
He, we talked about this before. His voice just blows me away. Sounds just like his brother and his dad. But Mike's a great coach. He really is, and he's done a great job. Just like Justin Rogers, everywhere he's been, he's done a really good job. Yeah,
there's some great ones out there, no doubt about it. Of course, remind you, we'll be here each Saturday morning, 9 till 12. Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show, as we schedule 16 coaches. Interviews with them, and of course coming up last half hour of the show, it'll be Eddie and John doing a little bit of traveling.
Yeah, I mean, we got a light schedule this week, but there's always some interesting things coming out of college football.
Best game of the week, you think, if there is one?
I don't know. The game I'm gonna watch I would watch, and I will watch it. I'll record it. It's gonna be Navy Notre Dame.
That's always a good ball game. Draws a lot of interest.
Notre Dame's picked by 20.5, so it's and I agree with them. A lot of people gonna be watching quarterback at Notre Dame. He's one of the Heisman contenders. There's some other games. Hawaii Vanderbilt. We'll see how that one goes. So
yeah. That's gonna be interesting. I think Hawaii could be the worst team in the nation.
It could be. No. Nebraska, Minnesota. Minnesota's always got that tough defense. Nebraska likes to run the ball. What are you looking for, Bruce? I'm running Windows 11, Bruce. It's a lot different from Windows 10. So, I mean, there's some games. The best thing, we got Louisville, Georgia Tech. Is Georgia Tech going to be better this year? You got to do something about this. I like looking at people I'm talking to.
Yeah, I'll sit back here. Here we go.
Georgia Tech they made some moves. They picked up some offensive players. They're supposed to be a lot better. That game's really an 8-point game, so it could go either way. What's Louisville this year?
Yeah, Louisville's going to have a schedule this year that's very favorable. People talk about Georgia's schedule, but Louisville's schedule, they don't have to play North Carolina. They don't have to play Clemson. They ain't got to play Florida State.
No.
At the end of the season, they could sneak in that championship game. I don't know how that's going to work out, but I think they're going to be an 8 or 9 win team. As far as Georgia Tech goes, Georgia Tech still has a little bit left over from the Paul Johnson era.
Yeah.
I don't think that the guy who replaced him, what was his name? I can't remember. I can't think of it now.
Ex-Georgia Tech player. I still remember him getting the job. I could tell you. Well, hell.
Anyway, you can't go from the triple option to a spread offense overnight. It takes time. It's going to take a lot of time for that to for the preparation process to go, and they are in growing pains right now. When is that going to be resolved? I'd say another couple of years, you may be able to see them be a little more competitive.
We all know what the hold-up is at Georgia Tech. It's kind of like Duke. Every once in a while, you'll have a good enough team to play. Academics are hard there.
Yeah.
There are a lot of players that would love to go to Georgia Tech, but between a 40-hour athletic schedule and a 40-hour school schedule, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Academics, they don't have some of the courses that are elsewhere. And I'm just
Yeah.
I'm just laying it out there. Don't yell at me, Georgia fans. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's some the academics at Georgia Tech are really hard. It's hard to get a good team in there year after year after year. And Paul Johnson, you can say what you want, but the man, he knew how to build a team using the skill set that he had, and his offense was it level set a lot of people because you didn't see that all the time. When you run into the offense that he used to run, it was like it was once a year. And you hoped you run into him at the first of the year so you could get it over with and get out of the way. You didn't want to play him during the middle of the year.
No, and you come out of those games a lot of times with a lot of injuries, and coaches hate that. So, but you talk about, we're talking about academics. Just to be honest with you about Georgia Tech and Duke, but listen, I'm not going to sit here and brag on Swamp Lizards, and I'm not going to brag on the guys in the Plains, but Auburn and Florida are two tough academic schools as well. So let's, to put it in perspective, I mean, you got to be a good student to go to those two schools. To even get in to those two schools, you got to be good students. And, they still, there's down years, obviously. We're looking at a couple of down years from those two schools. But let me tell you, those two schools right there are in the top 25 of the programs in this country year after year after year after year. So, Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech sits right in the middle of a great footprint for
Atlanta, Georgia, man. You
yeah.
But also, and unless they change the optics of college football, you got to understand though, college football is changing. It's not where these students are going to go in and spend. It's going to be very odd for a student to go in and spend 4 years at a college. He's got to love it. It's got to be ingrained in him or her that they had parents that played there or grandparents that played there. Students can move, so athletes can move now. You get 3 transfers?
I don't know how many now they got. Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, 3 or 4 you could transfer.
Yeah.
Once just because you didn't like where you were at and wasn't getting, I'm not even going to get into that tangent, but then you could transfer after you graduated, and you could do a hardship transfer. We need to look into that. But you get
grad transfers, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
So they're not going to stay in one place long unless they want to be there.
I was saying on my Thursday show last week or week before last. Next year, college football's look completely different than it looked 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're in the middle of that process right now. We're in the middle of the change of a sport that it's going to look vastly different 3 years down the road than it looked 3 years before.
Traditions are going to be gone.
Oh
yeah. SEC going to like Ole Miss, in the Grove and stuff like that.
Yep.
That's going to be gone. And I mentioned to you when I came in late. Sorry, Bruce. But
we excuse it.
You
were on the road last night.
I'm docking your pay, and I'm on, and I'm glad that Ken ate your burrito.
He's going to pay me your portion.
Okay. Nothing from nothing gives
That's right. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing him.
But we were talking about some things when we first come in. College football's changing, people, and good, bad, and different. I think that the way it's going to turn out is you're going to see it's the college football and baseball, men's baseball to a point, maybe some college
basketball,
but I mean, most people don't understand. You make a trip here, they come here, you go there.
Yeah.
And if you got to go all the way out to the West Coast to play some football, that messes up your week.
Yeah.
And I'm anxious to see how the Scholastics are going to fare through this.
Well, I'm going to tell you this: it's filtered down into the prep side too, the high school side. Missouri just passed a law last week or two that high school kids who are committed to in-state schools can get NIL deals. So you can have a 14 or 15-year-old kid that says, "Well, I'm going to commit to Missouri or whatever, Missouri State or whatever school in the state of Missouri."
California, same way.
Yeah, just keep them in the school keep them in the state, and they can take money right then.
They're ruining sports.
Well,
they're ruining
it's absolutely ruining sports.
The athletes are capping into the money stream. Is what it is, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's been happening forever.
Yeah,
but I don't know how I feel about this.
the whole thing is turned around and gotten crazy, and I'll say it plain stupid. Jim Thorpe had his medals stripped because he played summer base. The guy paid him $5 to instead of working in the fields to play baseball during the summer. They stripped him of his medals. Okay.
Yeah.
Now eventually they gave him back. But the bottom line is this: we have gone from that to you can do whatever you want to and get these checks and all. It's ridiculous. I don't like it at the college level, and now this is getting into the high school. I got a problem with that.
Well,
a major problem.
I can top that. They tried to wipe SMU off the map.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Over something that's absolutely illegal nowadays.
The death penalty is what they got.
Death penalty is what they got,
Yeah.
and they learned a lot from that. I don't think the NCAA...
And they never recovered from it.
They never recovered from it. So
If the old Southwest Conference would get together now, they would own the world because now they could do it legally.
Jimbo Fisher will be the head of it.
Hey, I got news for you guys.
Oil checks, baby.
Texas and Oklahoma coming in. You're going to see a difference.
Yep, money's coming.
Money's coming to the SEC, buddy.
Yeah, like it wasn't enough there anyway.
I mean, and I love Vanderbilt, but, I can see them kicking Vanderbilt out of the conference eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a bad idea.
They need to be in the Mid-American or somewhere else. Anywhere but there.
No, Bruce.
They need to be out.
Because you're looking at it through football
ACC.
lens.
Send them to the ACC?
Look at it through baseball lens. Vanderbilt's probably
I know.
the best schools out there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, what the problem you're going to have is if they keep on with this, the money is going to what they're going to try to end up doing is making the players employees of the school.
Oh, that's
or the conference.
That's
California has already talked about that.
Yeah. And then when they do that, these other sports, because football funds almost all the colleges out there, football funds all the other sports.
Oh, absolutely.
Unless you're NC State. Unless you're NC State, it's basketball there. Buddy.
Unless you're in Tobacco Road or something like that, you got basketball. But other than that, there's not many of those. Some Indiana, some of the other basketball schools, but far and away across this nation, football funds all the other college athletics.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that. I'm sorry, but women's sports is probably going to suffer from it. Golf, lacrosse, some of those other sports that.
Women's sports are suffering from a lot of things,
and all the ones that don't produce any money, non-revenue ones, are going to be pretty much gone at that point. Want to remind you here, we're here each week throughout the course of the season. Fastest 3 hours in radio, Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show. We come to you live from the Dave Venable Studios here on the XL Sports Network. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
For all your tax needs and IRS e-file in Middle Georgia, it's Lester's Income Tax Service at 99 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-1650. Best of luck, Red Devils.
Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers Pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The Big City Lawyer with Small Town Shine. David Venable, attorney at law, Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
The answer to your insurance needs is simple. The Grimsley Agency. No matter your needs, life, auto, or home, it's the Grimsley Agency. You can trust Danny Grimsley and his staff with great coverage for your whole family. New car or home, the answer is the same. The Grimsley Agency. Give them a call at 783-2581 or see them at 203 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Proud supporters of all Red Devil athletics. When I say Hawkinsville Dispatch and News, few things pop into your mind. Community involvement, community awareness, covering what matters to the people of Pulaski County and serving the area since 1866. However, it is much more than that. It's office supplies for home, business, or school. It's also your headquarters for large print copies for all your business and construction needs. So when you need a copy of your construction plans, no need to go out of town. See Chuck and his staff. You may call today, 783-1291, or see them at 329 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Hawkinsville Dispatch and News, serving the finest people in the world since 1866.
Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show as we continue, as we get ready to talk to our final coach of the day, and then we'll go get John on the phone and talk a little bit of college football. And, of course, Eddie, I guess you and him will discuss the high school game of the week last night.
I just drew a blank. The one they were at.
Yes, which is Perry and Houston County, Hoko?
Perry Hoko. They were Perry Hoko game, yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
That was a battle of two really good teams.
Yeah, it was, and I'll be honest with you, Antoine Thomas's son, Antoine sells real estate up in Houston County, and he's got a son that plays football, for a running back plays for Hoko, so I kind of followed that one while we were where we were. It was that game went back and forth.
You talking Anton Hill Jr.?
I think that.
I thought he was a quarterback over there.
No, Antoine Thomas.
Oh, Antoine Thomas. Okay.
Okay, back to the phone line. We go on the line with us now. Roswell head coach, Coach Chris Pruitt. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Doing good, Coach. Glad to have you with us this morning. Last night, Centennial. What can you tell us?
Man, we thought we came out and played well, and did what we needed to do. Got up 36-0 after the first quarter, and I thought our kids came out and executed well and played well, and got an improvement from week one. So that's kind of what we were looking for, to come out and play better than we did last week, and continue to do that next week.
And, Coach, in a game when the score is lopsided as it was, you can still have a good game, right? You can go through your stuff and not be making the physical and mental mistakes that you did the week before, and that's all improvement regardless of who you're playing, right?
Correct. Yeah, we really, our whole goal this week was to focus on what we're doing and try to improve with some pre-snap stuff, eliminate some mistakes that we've been making, and just play better in general, regardless of who we're playing, what the score is. So I think we were able to do that. We didn't do it every single snap, but I thought we did well. And we're just continuing to try to get better and try to get to that 15th game at the end of the year.
Coach, let's talk about the challenges the early part of the season has presented to you guys. And, of course, you started out the summer, probably was fairly normal, not bad at all. But the last week or 10 days has just been brutal for everybody.
Yeah, the heat presents some issues. It's unfortunately, sometimes we get moved inside or moved to alternate practice or to try to change some stuff. And luckily, we've been able to get our work done as best as we can, and just try to, whenever we're on the field, make sure we're focused and eliminate the heat. We talked this week. One of the things you're going to get all week is that we can either succumb to the heat, or we can use it as an advantage for us by being focused, being more aggressive and being more on point in the heat. So I think we did well with that.
And of course, as you get ready for next week, you guys have Marietta. It's going to be a different type ball game.
For sure. Marietta, I think, just won their 600th game as a program, so it's real two-storied programs that played a long time and played a lot of football. They're very talented, very athletic, very physical. So it was a 3-point ball game last year, so we're kind of expecting the same thing. It'll be a really good game, really good atmosphere here at Roswell for our home opener. So I'm looking forward to it.
Coach, let's change gears a little bit. You know, I'm in a Class A community at Hawkinsville. I've been covering their ball games on the radio since '93, and 45 kids is normally a high side number. And as far as the junior varsity program, a JV program, a lot of seasons you can't have one because you don't have enough kids. Let's talk about the difference with these small town programs to a big time program like you guys have. How many different teams do y'all have at the high school level and the feeder program?
Yeah, so when you guys called, I was actually out watching our 7th grade play. We have a pretty cool deal, or like our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade play at our stadium on Saturday morning. So we really look at it in terms of a program being all the way from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We know those kids by name. We know exactly who they are. We've been working out with them. They've been running with us, doing conditioning during the spring, during the summer. So we really invest a lot in that program. Contrary to most people that we end up around, we really work on a developmental kind of platform. We don't have the luxury to have 15 transfers come in and make a different team. So we really have to find what our guys do well and kind of bring that out of them. And when you're talking about the developmental part, we had our freshman game on Thursday, which was really big for us. Just trying to get those guys some reps and get the guys some live action. But for the most part, we'll have 2 teams. We usually play a JV and a varsity schedule. Our JV could be a freshman or JV game. We just kind of depending on what we're doing that week. And kind of what we're going to get that week. We just look at if you're not playing on Friday, you're going to play Thursday and get reps. So if that's 1 quarter, if that's 2 quarters, or if that's 4 quarters, we're going to get you reps and make sure that you are still fine-tuning some skills and really working hard to improve and figure out what people do best.
Coach, you mentioned the transfers. It's become a problem not only at the high school level, college level. I wish that it would get reined in. The GHSA would rein that in. It was kind of funny, and I don't want to drag you in something that's going to get you in trouble. I'll do the talking on this one kind of quickly. The Garcia kid was ineligible at Valdosta, but all of a sudden he makes a move from one week to the next, and he's eligible. That doesn't look good from the outside looking in.
Yeah, I think I think the thing with the transfer stuff is I think it depends on the situation. A lot of times, I said, the thing I kind of look at, if we get kids that transfer in and move in, we just make sure it's done the right way and make sure that we're following the GHSA guidelines as they're intended to be followed, and that's all we can really focus on instead of figuring out what other people are doing or not doing. So a lot of the stuff we get is really just it's hard to move into the metro area a lot of times because it's just a lot of different factors go into it. But I think I'm honestly happy. We're kind of lucky in the fact that we get what we get, and we just develop them. And again, we kind of know who we got from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and that's where we are with the transfer report.
Well, it was a big change of times. When I was in school back in the 70s, it was if you transferred, that's fine, but you had to sit out a season. That was just absolutely, the way it worked. And I kind of wish they'd get back to some of that. Some of it's a hardship. I understand that, but some of it, come on, you got to know that you get 10 or 12, 5-star recruits move in over the summer. Something isn't right.
Yeah, there's no doubt about
that. Coach, listen, it's always a pleasure to have you on the air with us. Good win last night. next week, Marietta. Good luck to you guys, and we appreciate you being on, and we'd like to call you again in a few weeks.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, Coach. Thanks. Have a great weekend.
You too.
And I really should not bring any of these coaches in these conversations like that.
No.
It's not fair to them.
I was going to say that particular player you're talking about is in his second college team too. So
is it only a second?
I think it's only a second team. But you got him, and you got the kid. I'll just say his name, Tate Martell. He committed to 3 or 4 different schools before he ended up at Ohio State. Then he transferred from Ohio State to Miami, then Miami to Nevada. So sometimes it's a kid. They're just not Brer Alexander.
Well,
bouncing around.
I will say this. These kids grow up, and if they show any kind of aptitude when they're young playing rec ball, that they're good. They start hearing that.
Yep, people talk.
And if they don't make it on the field, it's not because of them, it's because of somebody else.
Right. Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Yep. That's the thing I do not like. You should make them commit and honor their commitment.
Absolutely.
The word commitment means nothing anymore.
It doesn't. It's nothing.
And you got speed coaches. There's a speed coach in the local area here, I won't say his name, would tell kids, you need to go to a bigger school. You need to transfer schools. And that's not good.
No.
Not good.
You're always going to have that coach out there, and we've had a few in Hawkinsville that kids will show the aptitude, and they think they can change them from, they see the athletic prowess. They don't look at the mental part of it. So coaches are just as guilty of it as the kids.
We're going to take a break. You're listening to Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show right here on the XL Sports Network.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
The answer to your insurance needs is simple. The Grimsley Agency. No matter your needs, life, auto, or home, it's the Grimsley Agency. You can trust Danny Grimsley and his staff with great coverage for your whole family. New car or home, the answer is the same. The Grimsley Agency. Give them a call at 783-2581 or see them at 203 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Proud supporters of all Red Devil athletics. When I say Hawkinsville Dispatch and News, few things pop into your mind. Community involvement, community awareness, covering what matters to the people of Pulaski County and serving the area since 1866. However, it is much more than that. It's office supplies for home, business, or school. It's also your headquarters for large print copies for all your business and construction needs. So when you need a copy of your construction plans, no need to go out of town. See Chuck and his staff. You may call today, 783-1291, or see them at 329 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Hawkinsville Dispatch and News, serving the finest people in the world since 1866.
If you're near the 341 bypass in Hawkinsville, the smell of the fresh fried chicken may lead you right inside for the best meal you'll ever have. Stop and see Lewis Fowler and his staff at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville for the daily buffet and the daily specials. Come try the Thursday night buffet with shrimp and fish or the Super Sunday buffet after church. Plus, there's full service menu available. And let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, either in-house or on location. The Steakhouse Restaurant on the 341 bypass in Hawkinsville.
Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783 2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
Let's play Who Wants to Volunteer in Your Community with Ella in Santa Monica, California.
Hey, wait, I don't want to volunteer.
Volunteering can really be fun. In fact, we've asked your entire algebra class here to tell you more.
But we were thinking that you should start tutoring people because you're all like smart and stuff.
I should?
You free tonight?
Sure.
To find out ways you can volunteer in your community, log on to teensvolunteer.org. Do what you like to do. Volunteer. A public service message brought to you by USA Freedom Corps, the U.S. Department of Justice, the Crime Prevention Coalition of America, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back into the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show, and we're waiting for somebody on the phone line. The board man. What about you? Come dragging in here. I mean, come on, really.
That's all right.
I defended you. I said you'd be here by 9:05.
Well, I've always told you, as long as I'm here by 11:30, we good.
That's right. That's right. Hey, we made provisions today just in case.
And I got a backup.
And he started working on it about 10 o'clock.
Hey, I had to back up him earlier, too. He had to take a phone call, so I had to do an impromptu interview. Hey, Eddie, we were talking earlier about some of the stuff that changes and everything in high school and college sports. We're going to see even more changes coming, I think, at the high school level going forward with this, moving around and NIL and all this other stuff. And I think you said it or Bruce said it, it's really ruining the sport.
It is. I mean, the thing about high school sports are the imperfections and the traditions. It's if you look, I mean, this is more community. Every community has a tradition. I can remember, and Bruce probably does too, AB's Barbecue was opened up, and it was tradition that, every Friday night, cheerleaders went and ate at AB's, and, you as parents kind of rolled in there after when they got room, or we actually tailgated during the 03, 04, 05, and then later on when my son was playing and they were getting their state championship ring, we tailgated a lot. When we went somewhere. I mean, we'd pull up, we'd roll up, drag out the grills and everything else, man. And what are y'all doing? We're cooking hamburgers. We're tailgating.
Y'all were tailgating. I was pre-gaming.
You got these programs like Hawkinsville and some of the other ones, Middle Georgia, Warren Robins, and some of these other ones that have so much tradition. And with that tradition, comes times where, you'll be out, 30 years after, like for me, 30 years after I graduated, I'm talking to somebody I went to school with, and he says, hey, you remember back when our senior year, you guys played, here, you played Tiff County, whatever, and you talk about those games, and if the way it's going now, you're not going to have that going down the road.
No,
guys are going to graduate, and you're going to say, man, I don't remember you even playing at my school.
Let's bring in John Nelson. Maybe he can throw something in this conversation. Hey, John, how you doing?
I don't know, man. I'm right here this morning trying to figure out what's going on. With the Friday heading into the Saturday, and we're in week 0. Is it week 1? I always get confused about this kind of thing when we're talking Saturday football.
The dream is here.
The dream's here. Now, we were talking about tradition in high school football and the things that, I brought up, back in 03, 04, 05 when Hawkinsville was on that run that, we actually tailgated. When we went somewhere, or even at our stadium, we tailgated out in the parking lot. People looked at us like we were crazy.
Oh, yeah. People go to Gentry and would tailgate and watch Charles Johnson and that low center of gravity. No question.
Oh, yeah. You think that's something? Try it at Athens Academy. Boy, they didn't know what happened when we rolled in there.
I watched. We were watching the pregame warm-ups, and I looked at Andy Hill and I said, "Andy, it's going to be a long night for those boys over there."
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. But now, once we got a sizable lead, they started playing a little bit better defensively, kind of keeping us in check. But by that point, it was out of hand. But I tell you, that was a fun ball game to go to.
make sure that there were 13 minutes of line of scrimmage to make sure that Todd couldn't do anything with the football.
Yeah.
Or you could be. Andy and I went up to do a Mount Zion and Carroll playoff game with Dooley.
Watered the field.
They watered the field down.
Oh, of course. That's tremendous.
There was 2 inches
That's
of water.
fantastic.
There was 2 inches of water on that field.
And ain't been no rain in weeks.
Yeah. Hey, y'all's game of the week last night was down here in our neighborhood. You got to witness Hoko and Perry. Tell us a little bit about that game.
You mean other than the standard amount of chaos that was attached to it?
We weren't there, so you have to elaborate on that.
I was getting updates from my son-in-law, but I'd rather hear your updates.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all right, so we were there last night to present Perry with the Cooperative Spirit Sportsmanship Award. It's something that Georgia's EMCs do, and Perry had won it for their region. And so we were down there to present the award to them. It was a big source of pride for Kevin and everybody there. So, kind of teasing my column for this week at gpb.org/sports, as John writes about things that he wants to write about on a weekly basis. I caught up with the two head coaches. I caught up with Jeremy and Kevin before the game, and I was talking to him about last year. And Jeremy goes, I'm 43 years old. Last year, I think I left that game 53 years old, considering that both teams scored north of 50, and it was a 1-point game, and it was your standard amount of crazy. And Kevin looked at me and he goes, I'm 53 and I left that game last year 63 or 73. So, you had that going on as part of the subplot of the whole thing. And, it's a new quarterback for Perry, and you have, AJ for Houston County and the targets that he has. And so it's 21-0 in the second quarter. You get a 98-yard touchdown pass in the first minute of the game. And then you get an interception pick 6 where the Houston County defensive back pins the ball on the Perry receiver, picks it off of the body, and then runs it back the other way for like 30-yard score, and it's 21-0.
Hey, John.
Then,
John,
yeah.
I hate to interrupt you because you're in full stride, buddy, but my board man over here is telling me we got to go to a break. Can you?
XL Sports Network, man.
All right. Thank you, John.
If you're near the 341 bypass in Hawkinsville, the smell of the fresh fried chicken may lead you right inside for the best meal you'll ever have. Stop and see Lewis Fowler and his staff at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville for the daily buffet and the daily specials. Come try the Thursday night buffet with shrimp and fish or the Super Sunday buffet after church. Plus, there's full service menu available. And let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, either in-house or on location. The Steakhouse Restaurant on the 341 bypass in Hawkinsville.
Outdoors is your thing, remember Harris Country Meats. Harris has hunting supplies, fishing, bait and tackle, and a complete garden center. You can also grab a snack for your outing at Harris Country Meats and Grocery, family owned and operated since 1943. You can call them at 478-783-3276, or you can see them at 66 Cochran Highway, Hawkinsville. Harris Country Meats and Grocery.
Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
I walk the mean streets of Atlanta in a police uniform. That gives me an important perspective most lawyers can't give you. If you find yourself in a tough situation leading to an arrest, remember, your best bet for a good defense is to remain completely respectful but quiet. I can't stress that enough. And call me as soon as you possibly can. I'm David Venable. Call me.
The big city lawyer with small town charm. David Venable, attorney at law. Broad Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2825.
Welcome back into Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday morning quarterback show as we continue with Eddie and John.
Yeah, and before we get any farther, John, I would be remiss if I didn't mention GPP Sports on Demand. Guys, if you want to see John and Hannah, they do a lot of interviews. I know I'm looking at 6 right now, different coaches during the year. John, I've listened to them. Great job. And they've also got blogs that you can listen to. Again, another great job. If you want to keep up with high school football, really, there's no one out there that does it better than John and Hannah. Getting back to the Hoco game, the score was standing. It looked like it was a close game.
Yeah, it was 21-0, and then Perry scores late second quarter to make it 21-7, and that's how it was at the half. Then they took the governor out of the golf cart in the third quarter, and it was 28-28 heading to the fourth. And you're sitting there going, okay, now this is kind of what I was, anticipating when it came to this particular game. So, touchdown pass, Houston County. They missed the PAT, so 34-28, and there's like 2:40 to go in the game. And when I always say the words ensuing kickoff, we know one of two things is going to happen. It's going to be a turnover or it's going to be a touchdown. It was a touchdown. So literally, Houston County had a 34-28 lead for like 12 seconds. They made the PAT, so it was 35-34 Perry. And then, of course, 2 minutes and 40 seconds, entirely too much time for that offense for Houston County. They go down the field and score, made it 40-35, and they go for two. And, they got the 2-point conversion, literally creating something out of nothing. It was like scrambling for your life kind of stuff. And then it was 42-35, and Perry tries to come down for the tying score, and they had a 4th and goal from a distance, and they didn't make it. So, yeah, it was just your average Hoco-Perry game last night.
Yeah. Next week, I'm seeing y'all be at Cedar Grove at Westlake. Y'all be at Westlake?
That is true. That is our season premiere for Football Fridays, and we'll have that. And looking forward to getting our season up and running. And so kickoff will be a little after 7:30, and then much like cool-down periods that we have for high school football games, half hour after the completion of our game, you'll see the re-air on GPB.
Yeah, that ought to be a good one. I got to witness Westlake last night up close and personal. And while they are a good team, I don't think they're the same team they were last year. It looks like there's some holes. Cedar Grove, they're going to reload. It's just the way it is.
It's the way it is. We know about Cedar Grove. That's just how they going to do things down there. Chasing after a title after missing out last season.
Yeah. Let's get a little college in. It's a light week as far as college football. Really, next week will be kicking off the full season.
The full season,
yeah,
what you're saying.
Yeah, you got North Alabama and Mercer. Mercer's picked by 20.5.
Yeah, I can see that.
Got some players. I've watched some Mercer practices, and they look good. Jackson.
It'll be a long day for UNA. That's what you're saying. But them lines coming from North Alabama.
Well, a close one's going to be Jacksonville State and UTEP. The line is UTEP by 2. Thoughts?
Well, UTEP's got a lot of folks coming back, and we always know that Jack State's going to be traditionally tough. So I'll take UTEP on the uniform game, if nothing else. Their uni game is very strong, and they've gone back to the old color schemes of the old electric orange and blue. So I'll say that UTEP gets it done, and they do cover, but it won't be. I know a lot of folks are thinking, FCS versus FBS, group of 5 stuff. But I'll go. I think it's probably going to be a touchdown win for UTEP in that one.
Well, we have Ohio, not the Ohio. We have Ohio and San Diego.
We have
State.
an Ohio, is what you're saying?
Yeah. San Diego State's picked by 2.5.
Yeah, I got to go with San Diego State in that one. The anticipated one of the new members of the Pac-4 in whatever form it's going to be. I just think that Ohio University, they're better on Tuesday nights than they are on Saturday afternoons. So I'll go with San Diego State because my sister graduated from there, and I have to do that.
Vanderbilt and Hawaii. Vanderbilt's picked by 17.5. I'll be honest with you. I want to watch Vanderbilt just to see what they might have because they're not picked very highly this year.
No, but think about the road trip that Hawaii's having to take first and foremost, and that is enough for me for at least a score. I think that Hawaii probably keeps it tight for a quarter and a half before Vandy finally does put the pedal down. But no, it should be a fun one just because of the offenses that you can have. So maybe the over would be the play for me here. And you know, I think that they might get to that 17 by the end of the day, but I would go over on the total before I would go on the number, on the spread.
All right, last minute and a half. Got two more I want to get to. USC and San Jose State. USC is picked by 31.5, but the story here is not the score; it's quarterback play. What do you think we're going to get out of that?
Yeah, this is going to be a showcase game for an early Heisman Trophy run. So 31. It's going to be a long game for San Jose State, which basically means they're saying something along the lines of 38-7. I think it might even be more than that on the USC side of things. They'll probably score in the low 50s. So whatever the number is, you know, once again, take the total before, but it wouldn't surprise me if USC took that 31 and just blew it out.
Last 30 seconds, game of the week, I guess, if you want to say there's a game of the week. Notre Dame and Navy.
Navy.
Notre Dame's picked by 20.5. Yeah, I would go, but I don't like to swim.
just go Navy. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Just, you know, if given the choice, go Navy. Make life difficult for Notre Dame.
Yeah. John, we appreciate it. We look forward to talking to you next week. Hold on. Bruce has got something he wants to say.
No, we've got another 10 minutes.
Okay, we'll be back in a few minutes.
XL Sports Network.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers Pizza. Solo Food Mart is a great place for snacks, cold drinks, and great Hunt Brothers Pizza. Then there's gas with easy in and out on the corner of Dooley and Commerce Streets across from the post office. Solo Food Mart, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-2584. Solo, your stop for Hunt Brothers Pizza, cold drinks, snacks, lottery, and friendly staff.
Volunteers of America is a national organization that for over 100 years has provided programs and services that allow people to overcome their challenges to become vital members of their community. At Volunteers of America, we don't just help people, we help people help themselves. Find out how you can support the programs that are working in your community. Contact Volunteers of America today. Call 1-800-899-0089.
For all your tax needs and IRS e-file in Middle Georgia, it's Lester's Income Tax Service at 99 Commerce Street, Hawkinsville. Call 478-783-1650. Best of luck, Red Devils.
The Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville is the perfect spot for you to get some comfort food, some great Southern cooking. Lewis Fowler and his staff prepare a lunch buffet 7 days a week, along with a special Thursday night buffet with fish and shrimp and the Super Sunday buffet after church. Let the Steakhouse Restaurant cater your next event, whether it's on location or with the in-house banquet facilities. As you're driving along the 341 bypass and smell the fried chicken, stop and eat a great meal at the Steakhouse Restaurant in Hawkinsville.
Welcome back into Saturday Morning Quarterback Show. On the line with us is John Nelson. Sorry, John.
Why do you run a steakhouse ad before coming back to me?
To make you hungry.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey man, they got a great buffet. And if you miss Thanksgiving tomorrow, on Sundays, great Thanksgiving lunch there. So
yeah, some good food.
So keep rubbing it in. That's fantastic radio. Just to sit there and you treat your guests like this when you taunt them with restaurants.
No, what we're saying is if you come down and have lunch with us, we'll pay. Bruce will pay. Bruce is gonna pay. Bruce pay.
He just fell in the floor.
I was gonna say now. Wait a minute.
Yes. Now that we got some more time, we can go through some more games. You got Kent State and UCF. UCF is picked by 37 points. I kind of think they are going to take this one.
Yeah, I mean it's Malzahn and it's another showcase game, and you want to get out in early numbers. So, hey, this is why we're worthy of transferring conferences, and so then you have a game like this one, and it wouldn't surprise me if they put up a big number.
Yeah. North Carolina State plays UConn. Surprisingly, it's actually close. NC's picked by 15 to win.
Well, but a lot of that goes back to how UConn was last year, and how much of it is last year and how much of it is building off of last year. And I know that for a lot of folks, UConn was one of those teams where you sat there and it's like, oh, they're homecoming, or the equivalent in college paycheck game. But UConn has turned themselves into not so much of a pushover. So I think that 15, maybe 21 or something like that. But, it makes a lot of sense that number would be a lot lower than it has been in the past.
It used to be UConn, and then Jim Moore happened.
Yeah.
Correct.
One of Bruce's favorite teams, Florida, plays Utah. Florida's
I thought you were going to say Slippery Rock.
Well, Utah's picked by 7.
Good.
anytime the Swamp Lizards can suffer, we're all fine with that.
Yeah.
Correct. As someone who graduated from Tallahassee, when you want me to talk about the University of South Georgia Gainesville campus, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. Nebraska and Minnesota. Minnesota's picked by 7.5.
I was going to say, Nebraska being Nebraska going up against Minnesota. PJ Fleck's got to make a statement coming out of the block. So I'm thinking that Minnesota's going to try to put up a number. I think they clear that 7 pretty easily.
Yeah. Michigan State by 14.5 over Central Michigan.
Well, Chippewa. So much for that idea. But, Mel Tucker's got some learning to do, and I think they probably clear that 14 by the time they're over. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that happened there either.
Miami against Miami of Ohio, they're picked by 17.
I'll go with Miami of Ohio just because that other school, the University of Coral Gables, I can't talk about them either. I get a physical allergy when I'm referring to anything in orange and green. So, yeah, not happening. No, yes, I know what's going to happen, but me saying what I want to happen versus what I know is going to happen are two entirely different things.
Well, the next one's kind of Chuck and I were talking about this one, and to me, it's kind of where are you at? It's the where are you at game.
Where are you at bowl?
Yeah, Georgia Tech and Louisville. We know Louisville's picked by 8, but where's Georgia Tech at this year?
And that's going to be the question for Brent Key. I thought it was the right decision to hire Brent full time, and you're going to have some transfers coming in, playing their first games. There's a discussion that maybe Tom Blaylock is going to be getting some reps and some plays for Georgia Tech in this one. No, this is an interesting petri dish game for me when it comes to what you're looking at with Georgia Tech. I think Louisville ends up probably winning by 10 or so by the time we're done, but it will be an interesting look-see into the soul of Georgia Tech and what we're looking at from Brent Key.
Yeah. Next one's Stanford and Hawaii. Stanford's picked by 7.
Can Hawaii be in 2 places at one time?
That
must be next week, yeah. I think we're looking at.
We're looking at some games.
Yeah,
next
I looked
week.
at that too. I think that we're looking at the schedule, and it's got the September 2nd games on there. So
September 1st.
Well, I mean, if Hawaii was going to run split squad, I was going to sit there and go, man, that Stanford game might be trouble. But unless they're going to unless they're flying from one game to the next, and they're going to physically play a doubleheader. So we'll see what happens. But
do a touch and go in Palo Alto where they hit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Coach and I, Chuck and I call him Coach because he did coach at one time before he got kicked out.
Before I got fired.
But Coach and I were talking. We're talking about high school football. We talked some about college football. Really, today, traditions aside and all that, with the talk about, ACC wasn't going to take some. Wasn't interested in expanding, and now
sure they were.
Now you're hearing they are having. Yes, guys, we got 2 minutes. Now we're looking at, they're in talks about expanding again.
Of course.
What are your thoughts? I mean, the thing that changed it was Sanford said they would not pull any revenue for 3 to 5 years.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's the same with SMU too. I mean, Sherwood Blunt. All you have to do is watch Pony Excess and learn about Sherwood Blunt at SMU. But Stanford ain't hurting for money, but they're hurting for a home.
Yeah,
and that's the big thing here when you're looking at that situation. Galactic realignment's not over with. It's going to be interesting over the next handful of years to see how things grow and evolve from where we are. But if Cal and Stanford leave the Pac-4, then that to me means that you've got to go to the Mountain West, and George Kliavkov and or Larry Scott could probably be referred to as 2 of the worst commissioners in college football history.
Yeah.
And it's the Pac-12's fault. I mean, you sat on a deal where you could have had money in hand from the 4-letter, and then one of the university presidents went to an economics advisor on campus, and the economics advisor said, "No, you're worth $50 million. You're not worth 30."
Right.
And so they went with that one appraisal.
Yeah.
John, I hate.
And then Apple came by, and they're like, "Nope." So no, it's going to be a perpetual topic. Bye, XL Sports Network.
That'll do it for us.
Good. Put Bruce on there. Want me there? Thank you.
That'll do it for this week's edition of the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show. For the coaches and for the guys here in the studio and John, this is Bruce saying so long. We'll talk to you next week right here on the Steakhouse Restaurant Saturday Morning Quarterback Show on the XL Sports Network.